Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Yellow Zikor program on UNC USA. I have with me here Marissa Budu and Rajin Paray of the Community Response Deployment Team TT back with us. And I'm very excited to have them back with us because they are doing some very exciting things and things that I like to see. And so I'm always happy to have them back on the program here. So Marissa and Rajin, can you tell us what you guys been up to lately?
Well, okay, so actually, we just interrupted our meeting so that we could come on to your live. We're currently just planning on how the organization is expanding a little bit, and we are realigning some roles. That's what we're doing currently, um, and we're just discussing that next week we're going to begin to go out into the communities a little outside of Bamboo. We have that one where we went to in Sumaria Trace and begin to build the community response teams in those areas. And I think I heard you mention just now Rishi Sicharan, MP for Caroni East, I believe. Or is it West? I can't remember which one he is, but yes, there he does have flooding in his area, up in El Carmen and in Lapai and also St. Helena. Those are areas are that run along the Caroni River, and the areas are usually inundated very easily, and that's where flooding actually starts on the Caroni River and then comes down this way. So we will have a conversation with him, and I've worked during elections because there is some overlap in local government with a couple of those areas, Lapai um, and St. Helena. So I have a fairly good relationship with some of the activists on the ground who might be willing to serve as community response teams. So we're going to start to work there as well, and build out as we go along. The idea really is to create a model for it, and then duplicate that throughout the country in areas that are affected by flooding or flood prone areas. When Ken visits, we look forward to that. We will have some more discussions on how we can use Ken's invention to mitigate some of the flooding, and at least be able to control the amount of water that might inundate any given area at any given time. And of course, I've spoken to Suman yesterday, and he is also willing to take us around in his area to the river out there by him, and we can maybe look at the areas that can be impacted by flooding there as well. So, kind of that's where we are currently. Um, the most of this week was in planning. Next week, I think we are on the ground again with
Alligator
in
Trace.
Alligator Trace with MP
Dr. Neil Hussain.
Gosain. Yes, so we're going to be going out there as well. So that's on the cards for next week. Hello.
Go ahead, I'm listening to you guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, you guys have any questions or any suggestions? We're really
So
looking forward to having Ken come down, and of course Simon later on.
yeah, I am the volunteer thing is something I'm very excited to hear about because I want you guys to keep merging into the various communities. I already spoke to, I already messaged Dr. Sicharan, and I want you guys to get out in the counties also, but and the various MPs. So I'm making the headway for you guys, and I want you to initiate a group, that will join your team, and you guys can train them.
Yeah, well, that is the plan,
Mm-hmm.
and of course I'm aware of the flooding in Dr. Sicharan's area. I've had first-hand experience. The last incident, I was out there with them distributing food and relief items to people out in El Carmen that were like stranded in their homes. And that's a regular thing for them out there. That happens on a regular basis because of their closeness to the Caroni River and other things that cause the river to overflow in that area. The bank feeling because of people interfering with the bank itself, removing materials. It's a sad thing, but it's true. That's what really caused the main cause of flooding out in that area because the governments since I think 2010 to 15 had done some good work on the banks out there, and the levees were controlling the water in the river until somebody went out there and was removing materials for their own purposes, and that caused the levees to collapse. Once put under the strain of the water, that was it. And those areas were like really severely flooded. And that hasn't, I don't think that has been repaired since. So we're looking at, if nothing is done now, we're looking at first onset of major rains, maybe flooding out there again. So, but it's kind of like what we live we live with on the, in this area. And we're hoping that we can make some kind of inroads into alleviating some of that flooding. But at least if we can't, at least providing training and assistance to people along the way, so they can actually have a better experience responding through flooding. You have anything else to add, Marissa?
No, so far I think you know, it's about just getting numbers, train them up, getting a lot of volunteers on board, community response deployment team (TT), and that way we unite, we come together, and we help each other with the flooding. We come up with some solutions. You know, Gary, when this was formed, it wasn't formed just to listen about problems. We actually gonna find solutions to the problems, and that's why we are collaborating with Ken, who's coming in next week, so we can try and get the first prototype um, done up in bamboo tree. It's there ready. You know, let's start to execute it, work on it, and then execute it in another, and then another, and another, and you know, we wouldn't have any floods.
Well, the thing about it is, if you look at the screen there, Marissa, you might see your information streaming along the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah,
Uh, right. So, yes. So I just want you guys keep building the team, and I will do everything on my end to support your expansion. I think that your organization is highly critical. One of the things I want you guys to kick off with Dr. Ramrup is the first aid training. I'm going to speak to Dr. Ram more on establishing a certified program for the EMT program, the Emergency Medical Technician program, and this is something I want to get going. I also mentioned it to Suman already on doing that. So this is something I want to get you guys up into my arrow also, and the various constituencies. I messaged MP Tanko. I think he's traveling right now. He's been back and forth. Today he was in Parliament, so I will get a hold of him and remind him on this. So as you guys get into various communities there, you establish some volunteers, and you get a lead person in that community to work with you,
yeah,
and things like that. So this is definitely something I want to encourage as quicker bustle, because the way I see it is we don't have the luxury of time. I want to keep reiterating that, because people are losing their lives in the country on a daily basis, whether it's in an accident or natural causes, where something that someone could have saved their life. So this is something absolutely essential. It's a matter of life and death. On top of the community response, the disaster thing, and the flood mitigation. And we don't have much time in. I mean, rain could start in May.
yeah,
And,
correct.
That's right.
and
It's been
so we
flooding
need
earlier. Yeah.
resources before we even start to get an infrastructure in gear there. We need response equipment, whether it's a dinghy or
That we
something
do.
in place in a various community. life jackets if you
Yeah.
can get. So
That's yeah.
I want to advertise your business, your organization as much as possible, so people see it's a legit thing. They can participate in either way as a volunteer. They could donate or whatever it is. So these are the kind of things
Yeah.
I want to encourage. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah. And Gary, I think I spoke with the team regarding contacting the Kalpoor brothers because they are very efficient and always willing. And you would
Yeah,
always see them
in that bread incident,
in
they
rescue.
were the
Yeah.
most effective guys there out
Get
there.
kudos to those guys. Kudos to those
Yeah.
guys. You know, they
Yeah.
let me tell you something. I rode on their boat in Bamboo number 3 when it flooded there. And the reason why I went down there is to ensure that my structure didn't fail. Right? What happened in Bamboo number 3 there when the place became flooded in lower parts of Bamboo number 3 was the bank was
Yeah.
breached in 3 places.
Yeah.
Right? And I have a video to that effect where I was advising some of the local residents just bounding their properties, actually bounding the bank.
Yeah.
And an old lady came out and said, "Sir, the water started to come over the bank and tumble, and it
Mm.
started to eat away the bank." That was her words. I said,
Yeah.
"Yes, as it tumbling, right, it has a lot of energy, and it started to erode the toe of the bank." And eventually I said, "Ma'am, when something like that happens, try to get out of this house and get, yeah, the elderly people and the young kids and stuff, try to get them away from this and call the authorities, but try to get to higher ground. Because if that bank was if that was a sudden failure, you don't have time to escape. You guys are going to drown here, right? It's a wall of water, it's a force by itself, right?" And Gary, I posted some pictures to the Caroni River there. I mean, this thing, you can see where there's a garbage constriction and the river is just swollen, right? And it's consuming the entire floodplain. Whatever is in that floodplain is going to become submerged. And if it's 6 feet of water, 4 feet of water, whatever, right? Yeah. Now this is a 2D trash rack that's slightly slanted, but it is not going to solve the problem. In fact, this is just going to exacerbate the problem, right? This trash rack located in Bamboo number 3, right? As you can see there, I don't even have to explain that. What's happening there? A total constriction, the plastic waste and plastic bags. It doesn't have to always be bottles, right? When I use the word plastic, I want to cover everything. Plastic bags mixed with other garbage like organics, grass clippings and stuff would get stuck there.
Organic.
And that would create a reduction of the cross section and it would constrict the flow from recharging the wet well or the sump. So behind that grating,
Yeah.
the entire place is flooding. And on the other side where the pump is dry. The pump is off. When I went down there, the guy told me, said, "Mr. Dalton, we couldn't engage the pump. The whole place is flooding and we couldn't engage the pump because the water can't get to the pump." I'm putting it in simple terms here.
Yes.
Because of the garbage, the volume of garbage in those water courses. This is a classic case that occurred in Port of Spain. Again, they went ahead and they used these 2D gratings in Port of Spain by the lighthouse. So we have a video to that effect, right? And you would see where the plastic waste is just clinging against that 2D grating, right? With the pressure of that water, keeping it right there, and it's reducing the cross section. And what's happening there is you have a classic constriction. The entire South Key was flooding, and we had a low tide. And let me just put it in simpler terms here. The water elevation in South Key was much higher than that in the ocean, right? So again, the designs have to be well thought of. It has to be tested, proven tested, right? And we don't want to be using any trial and error engineering here because it's going to be wasting taxpayers' money, right? And right now we're trying to save every dollar and stretch every dollar, right? And and return value for money. So these designs that are going to be mitigating flooding, they have to return value. They have to be very viable. They have to be green. In fact, my designs, you don't need no energy source. Even the backflow system, it works on differential head, right? So we have to think about environmentally friendly designs that can function in the middle of a storm. No one has to run down there to energize it or to hook up some kind of a flicker switch. But again, this classic case here with 2D trash racks, and I've been speaking out against it. This is not a solution, and I would strongly recommend that the ministry do not use these 2D trash grating. They are only going to worsen the problem. They're not a part of the solution. In no way they're part of any solution here. This is a part of the problem, in
It
fact,
is,
right?
yes.
And you
Yeah.
see it right there. I don't even have to explain it. It's visible right there. A blind
Yes.
man can see what's going to happen there.
Mhm.
That's like a barrier.
Mhm.
It is like that trash grating has now become like a barrier or a weir, right? You know, it's not permanent, but water is seeping, but technically it has reduced the cross section, right? Impeding the flow to the pump. And the entire place in Bamboo there used to flood because of this obsolete design. Just like the sluice gates, just like the metal flap gates. I have written a lot about it. I have captured and researched these flap gates, these sluice gates, and there are limitations. They leak a lot, right? They get stuck with garbage. Garbage logs and debris get caught between the frame and the flap, right? Preventing it from closing completely. And you would have backflow seeping back into the catchment. And that is where you're going to have your riverine flooding and stuff, right? So we have to definitely safeguard these communities. We have to ensure that the right engineering designs are implemented there. Because we're playing with people's lives, and we do not want to gamble with people's lives, especially when they're old people, kids and stuff, right? And also, this is why we need a good response team in Marissa and her team to go in there and rescue people, ensure that they are evacuated, right? They are the first responders on the ground in that community, right? Once we start to train communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago, right, they can respond at a different level while the army, the fire department, the police, whoever is coming down there, Kalpu brothers with their boat and stuff to rescue people, and so forth. We need to have first responders who are well trained within the community to jump into action at a moment's notice. Raj, Mr. Perry, you want to say something? Sorry. Hello.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're quite right, Ken. These are outdated traps and actually has a damming effect instead of creating flow for the water. And I've seen your design in action, and I think it's perhaps the best solution at this point in time for trapping the trash that goes down and gets into the water courses. Because honestly, we can't allow this amount of trash to get into the Caroni because it goes.
It's an environmental impact.
Yes, it goes down. It goes down and gets stuck in the mangrove and creates a dam further down the river as well.
Yeah.
So some way of removing it would be the best. Just to note, Gary.
Hold on. Sorry, I hear some background. Somebody's talking in the background there. I don't know. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, just that, just
Go ahead.
as a before I move on, Gary, if when you're speaking with the ministers in all of the different areas, if you could just ask them, perhaps if they might want to recommend people that they believe that might be useful for us to include in our organization, it will help us rather than us having to go on the ground and start from scratch, because I know they would work with their communities closely, so they will be aware of people who may be willing to step up. That will help us greatly in putting organizations together.
Yeah, but what I want you to do is like how you made a visit with Neil, and we're doing with Neil. You would do one with Dr. Sicharan on one of these days, maybe on a Saturday or something.
Yes.
And then you guys walk with whatever flyer or brochure you have and introduce the team. So we make a community introduction, and you leave the contact information, and then we take it from there.
Well, Dr. Shishan actually has my contact information,
No, but I
Right.
mean something to hand out to the community now.
Yeah.
and I
And
have his as well. Oh, it's
yeah,
like
and
flyers.
Gary.
Yes,
Okay.
going to do that.
Yeah.
We're
And
working on
Gary, we planning to do a site visit or field visit along the Caroni River from just where the water treatment plant is. There's a weir there, concrete weir, and we are going to start from there and go all the way and map all of those outfalls. Because if you notice, if you can recall, the the um, the map I posted a couple days ago with the 100-year flood, and it outlining or demarking the 100-year floodplain. By just looking at that map alone, you will see that a lot of the low-lying areas or communities in the low-lying areas that are within the 100-year floodplain, they're all at elevated risk. So we have to safeguard these communities. The one in the blue. Yeah, so that's the risk map,
Yeah,
right?
yes, sir.
And this one here. So all those communities along this, within this 100-year floodplain is at risk. Not little risk, but severe risk of damage to property, loss of lives. And we have, should be a high priority to safeguard these communities because in the event of a 100-year flood, we could see people get it drowned, right? And
I
we,
mean, look what happened here in the southern states here, 30, 40 feet of water. You know, I mean, so could you imagine that, we having to deal with that?
Well,
climate
look,
change is not slowing down, right?
only last
Global
year,
warming. Yeah, go ahead,
Ken,
Samad.
only last year we had a serious problem in Fort Myers and Sarasota and so on when this wrong
Are you hearing
side
someone? I'm not
hurricane.
hearing him.
Samad, yeah, speak up a little bit. Gary, not hearing you.
Are you guys hearing me all right? All right?
I hear you loud and clear. Gary, you could hear him?
I am speaking as loud as I can. I'm not shouting, but
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Gary,
Yeah,
maybe on
Samad, go
your
ahead.
end, I
Much
think on
better,
your
much better. Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, I'll say last year I had serious flooding in Sarasota and so on. Remember in Naples and what have you, the wrong side hurricane breeze from the Gulf of Mexico. All these mobile homes are washed away and what have you. So the principle we want to adopt in Trinidad is to ensure that the inflow and the outflow, in fact, the outflow is much greater than the inflow of water coming down. And once that we can achieve that objective, then flooding
So,
can be
yes,
mitigated.
absolutely, Samad. Point well taken. And that is what you call an attenuating the hydrograph
Correct.
or the flood wave,
Attenuation.
right?
Yes.
So that will involve a lot of hardcore calculations and stuff. Now,
Yes.
the infrastructure to do that, especially with the 100-year flood. Now, here's the design philosophy. We detain the 25-year storm, right? And we try our best to convey the 100. To
Correct.
store 100,
Correct.
people,
Yes.
we don't have that conversation
No.
in the world of water resource engineering. No one in their craziest mind trying to store 100 year. It is almost impossible. Look at all that water, look at all that blue there, right? You think we have the infrastructure and space to store that? Absolutely not. So we have to try to convey that, right? This is where our rivers and stuff, we have to widen it. We have to ensure there are no constrictions. And I posted a video today where there's an old Carney Bridge and a water line. I want to believe I don't know if it's a Wassa line or some, I want to believe it's a Wassa line, right? That's this Wassa line was probably installed a little lower than the bridge deck. And you can see the amount of garbage and bamboo and debris and stuff getting hung up, at the bridge deck there, creating a constriction or reduction of the cross-sectional area there, right? Now, that is going to cause the water, right, to kind of overtop the bank in that area and spread out because the water cannot pass through the volume or the flow velocity, right? If you're getting 1,000 meters per cubic second, now we're only getting about half, it's reduced. So
Okay.
again, what's going to happen with that constriction? It's going to cause the entire place at the inlet side of that river or the upstream end of that bridge, right, to flood, because now that debris is constricting the flow because of that bridge deck getting all that debris and garbage and stuff getting hung up on the bridge deck and the low-lying pipelines and all that sort of stuff, right? This is why we always design to lift our structure, or we design above the 100-year storm or 100-year flood elevation, and we create a buffer also. Now, in the terms of rivers, I would want to create a fairly decent, reasonable buffer so that if there was a big tree that was to get washed down or a fallen tree and it's just tumbling coming down with that flood water, I want to ensure it could pass through safely and not create a constriction, you know. So we have to think about what we're doing, how we're designing, right, for these mega storms. And they're not going to go away or disappear anytime soon, you know. These things are going to reoccur every single year. We're going to be faced with these disasters because global warming is not slowing down, it's not getting better anytime soon, right? The planet
That's
is heating up, the ice is melting, sea level, rising sea levels, the temperature of the ocean is getting warmer and warmer. We're seeing some of these storms jump from a 1 to a 5 in a matter of 30 hours, right? Melissa, 190 miles per hour wind, right? 190. I think it tied for the all-time most powerful storm in the Atlantic.
correct.
Guys, these are not storms. These are hurricanes, Cat 5 and stuff. These are monsters, right? They are beyond the scale. Now think
And
about the poor people who are in the path and cannot build a storm to withstand a Category 5 wind loads or even 190 miles per hour, right? They're going to lose their lives, right? We have many of them along the Caroni River there in that 100-year floodplain, right? Who could drown? Your house might collapse, but the water elevation or the bank, failing, and a rush of water just coming into that, residential community where your house is just on three concrete blocks and stuff, or is a flats. You don't have time to escape.
Mm-mm.
So we have to have good response team within the community, well trained, and they have to have the resources, a boat, a dinghy, and they also have to partner with people who are in the business, like the Kalpur brothers. I mean, I'm saying the Kalpur brothers, but there are also good people out there who could join this effort, right, and this team, and we can continue to build stronger, more resilient communities that are ready to handle, any kind of disaster and walk away with the minimal casualty and loss of life, you know. So that would be the ultimate goal, right? But
Yeah,
to design for these monsters,
you
right?
can't.
We are limited. We
Yeah.
detain the 25 and we try our best to convey the 100-year. And my thing is, let's identify that floodplain, that 100-year floodplain, and try to now fortify, try to now buy some time so that those people within or living within the 100-year floodplain will have enough time to escape and get to higher ground.
But Ken, for me, the base is basic common sense at addressing the County River, the expansion, strengthening the embankment, widening, deepening. It's things that I mean, that's common sense. But we have
Yes.
not been doing. We haven't been basically. If you look at what happened under the PNM, is that the river became much narrower because of the embankment shifted back down into the river and the bamboo and everything. Look, even when that lady drowned up
DB.
no, the lady that they were looking for in on the Toko side over there. I forgot the name of the
Oh,
place. When she
Sanssouci.
when she went under the debris and how much thing they had to move, all that
Oh, that's
stuff
with the
shouldn't
tree.
have been
The hiker,
shouldn't
that's
have
the
been
hiker. He went
you
hiking.
know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yes, exactly. You could get caught with debris, right? And
But
once
you're seeing that gross negligence. I mean, it's basic common sense. This is not rocket science for some of the things that we have to do. We may need the science in the calculation of how we with the engineering structure, but I mean, it's basically we know what to do.
Gentlemen, I'm afraid we're going to have to jump off because we need to get back to the meeting that we were having.
all
Thanks
right,
for having us. And
not
it
a
was
problem.
always a pleasure to be on.
Rajan, Melissa,
Looking
thank you
forward to
guys for
meeting you when
joining.
you get here, Ken.
Yes,
You're
thank you
most
guys very much.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Yep.
most welcome.
Yes, keep up the
All
good
right.
work.
Have a good one and keep up the good work, my dear.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
So, Sumar, as I was saying, the
You can,
ocean temperatures are getting warmer and warmer.
you know,
Sea level is
but
continuing to rise,
as
and
you
the storms are getting
endorse,
more and more powerful.
Bob, as you endorsing that, Ken, You know, I don't know if you know the cricket captain of Australia. His name is Steve Smith. He says since he's been playing cricket, he has never felt the sun so hot. And imagine these guys can tell you because they're in the sun for 7, 8 hours, you know, during a test cricket day, at least 7 hours. And he said he can feel it when he was younger playing cricket, let's say 10 years ago to now. He said it actually felt much hotter now. And these guys, this is live, you know, a live evidential statistic of
Well,
someone who plays cricket 6 hours or 7 hours for the day in the days, test cricket. And they are the
well,
ones complaining that it's
yeah.
so hot, hotter than
The
normal
intensity of
when
that
they
sunlight,
started. Yeah.
right? We have and now that we also have to look at that in terms of evaporation, right? Right?
Hmm.
And there are calculations for reservoirs and stuff where
Correct.
we try to
Yes,
calculate
yes,
the rate of evaporation for some for different months and
yes.
use that data to see how
And
what's the
this
correlation, right?
between
Um,
it,
and how much
the
losses to
correct.
evaporation because you have losses. So there will be
Definitely.
a drawdown effect. And Gary have been talking, I mean, Gary been preaching this from day one, right? We need to store upstream and be able to offset the losses
The
from our
runoff, the
reservoirs
temporary
from
run,
evaporation.
and not the temporary runoff as well. So this is a multifaceted approach
In
where,
Florida, we recharge the aquifers here
yep,
with
yeah,
infiltration wells, right? So all
correct.
of these things we have to look at and look, fresh water is going to be a problem, right? As we have um, as the planet continues to get warmer and warmer, oceans continue to rise, we're going to have saltwater intrusion. That's going to be a big part also where we're going to have to challenge that,
And
and
that
try to
has
retard
a,
that from
and
occupying or contaminating our freshwater reserves.
and Ken, that has a double whammy effect. I'll tell you. Once that saltwater penetration goes into the sweetwater areas, that land where the saltwater has penetrated becomes non-functional. You can't use that for anything. That just becomes marshland.
Yeah.
So your actual the la- availability of arable land shrinks because of saltwater penetration.
And that's where Ministry of Agriculture, Food Production comes in, where we should have that conversation with them. And
Well,
they should have a plan in place now to prevent that or to mitigate that. And that's where it ties back to these hydraulic structures, right?
and you
Where
you have you have worked in Netherlands. I have visited on about four or
well,
five different occasions, and
I
I've
work for
seen
a company based in the Netherlands called
what
Akidas.
what is done, what they have done. I've been there about 4 or 5 times and looked at the systems there because I'm very interested in this thing because the Oropouche Lagoon here, which is on the fringes of 3 or 4 constituencies of the UNC, Faizvan, Oropouche East, Oropouche West, and Moruga, because Moruga stretches from Barrack Pond, so on, because that's the highest flood water level, hydrography level. Um, 4 constituencies are affected because of saltwater penetration. And what does happen is that a lot of the arable land has gone into like waste marshes. I
So,
see
just want to ask you, the arable land meaning what? Fertile farmlands?
arable land meaning that land you could well initially cultivated for food
Okay, so people
production.
are doing farming there at one time.
Correct, farming. And in Netherlands, what they do is that when they drain these areas with these saltwater grasses, when they try to get back the arable land, they have to let the land leach, which is a
Yes,
bleaching process, let
yes.
rainfall and so on over four
It
to
has to
five year
it has a
period.
self purge.
They have to spell purge that has to wash out the salt basically. And it takes about 4 to 5 years before they bring in a polder. It's called poldering. And this is a system that the Dutch implements. So we are creating a problem and nobody's solving the problem, and the problem is increasing year after year after year. This is basically what is happening. And nobody is arresting the problem or trying to stop the saltwater penetration. Look, I can tell you. In fact, Gary, when they come down, we'll take a drive on a boat ride and we see. This thing has gone so far up to Woodland now. Up to Woodland, and Woodland is far from the Godineau Bridge.
And
This is the
I
south.
want to guess that a lot of that is because of the failed hydraulic structures that they implemented there.
Suman,
Exactly.
I want the drone shot because you would not be able to access certain areas, and with the drone, you'll be able to get an overhead view.
Yeah, well, we move it
And
in the
so
drone,
where the
Gary.
boat can't go because the place could be
Yeah,
conditioned. The condition could be so bad that you have so much debris in the river. You know it might be risky. So if you use the drone, you could get some close-up shots, and even from the drone.
Yes, well, that is in the
definitely.
planning.
Yeah.
We're planning to do that, Gary. You're right on
Uh,
ball. That's part of the you know tour.
yeah. We're going to get
Which is,
a drone pilot with a drone also to move around. This way we could cover more space
yes, and you
because
could see from the higher elevations, you could see what saltwater grass looks like. You know that sturdy
mhm.
thing. You know where
Sawgrass,
on the highway,
sawgrass.
sawgrass. When the highway where 610 radio station, they have a little outpost at the Solomon Hochoy Highway there, and after the Caroni, um, that where they take the people to for the tours, down the bird watching tours. There's a little radio station there. It's still in existence because I saw it just a couple of days ago.
That's next to the power plant where the transfer station is there, with the transformers and stuff.
I don't think it's near
Before
the
that, it's
bird
before
watching.
that.
Yeah, before that, because
W-
I used to use
Wasn't
that
that
as
used
a
to, so
mark.
that wasn't that used to be 710 radio or something?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Yeah, yeah.
That's also the grass. If you see that, it has reached now to Woodland on the what's called the New River. To tell you how far, and that is about 5 or 6 miles from Godineau River. That's how far the salt water has penetrated that, you know, this area. And what has happened is that it has made this land literally useless because you can't,
Yeah,
even cows can't graze on it to mine. You mine cows and so on.
yeah. Absolutely. So
So
that's our
that's
next.
so you see,
I mean, look.
Ministry of Agriculture is supposed to be at the forefront and trying to get arable land for people to get back into farming and do all this thing what they're proposing to do. But if you do attack this problem now, because it takes, as I say, 4 to 5 years to make this land arable again.
So they should
So,
have a land reclamation policy, right, in place, and they should put that and have that firm up with their ministry, and go out
and
there and try to implement or rehabilitate.
but Ken,
Um,
you rightly said, you hit it on the head, exactly what I said. Most of that problem is faulty sluice gates, and no
well,
one has
Sumad,
paid attention to
Sluice is
these
an
faults.
obsolete design. I would never implement in my whole entire engineering career implement a sluice anywhere, right? I would not do that. There's more advanced, more efficient, reliable technology available. We have come a long way from sluice gates. And if you're still using sluice gates, you are considered obsolete also,
Yeah.
right? And,
So,
believe it or not, you will be part of the problem. Because if you're still using 2D trash traps, you are part of the problem.
yeah, correct. So,
If you're
you
still
know,
using trash trap in Port of Spain, right? And under the last government, they did a big project in Port of Spain by the Lighthouse. We have a video to that effect. They had 2D trash racks there, garbage constriction against it, reducing the
big
cross
time.
section, and
Yeah.
the whole of South Key flooding, the water elevation, to put it in layman terms, the water elevation was much higher in South Key than in the ocean right there,
Ocean, yeah. And you know
right?
what?
Now, is
That
that a design? Is that a viable design?
Well, you know what has happened there, Ken, is that you know where that water comes from, right? Sometimes through the East Dry River, and that if you have seen that, it's a work in Port of Spain, and when you see that East Dry River coming down with tons of garbage and tons of trees coming up from St. Anne's up in the hills there, plus the amount of sediments, right? And if any sort of constriction is a backup, a massive backup, that is why Port Spain floods, and in general, that's how it floods. Because if
About
the
what we
water
need,
column runs out when
right?
the tide is lower,
And
then
you
you
know,
know what the problem is, right?
yeah, definitely. So, man, and also I want to add to that also, right? You have these sanitary sewer manholes, right,
Mm-hmm.
that become overwhelmed
Yeah,
and they start to bubble or backflow, right?
backflow.
And you have that
Correct.
raw sewage mixing with the runoff,
Yep,
right, in Port of Spain there. So it's a
mm,
major health problem,
that's right.
you know. And
So, so
when you
remember
now come
what
and put a 2D trash rack, when
mm-hmm.
you now come and put a 2D trash rack by the lighthouse with pumps and all sort of stuff, and the water in South Key mixed with that sewage and effluent and stuff, right, is much higher. The elevation is much higher than the water in the ocean. You know what
Correct.
that is? That
That's
is a total failure,
and
right? And I'm going to say it again: we do not
That's a
need to be in.
serious health hazard, man.
boy. That remember, Ken, we identified that problem. One of the notes I sent today. That is
Yeah,
the social implication, the health implication of
I
flooding, right? Flood mitigation.
I was with a guy from the Express,
Mm.
and we went down to Bamboo number 3. They had a problem with the manhole there, the sanitary sewer, and he said, "Ken, the same problem we have right in front of our building. The manhole is bubbling, backflowing." I said, "Well, let me tell you something. That water, that is wastewater, right? And once the pipes become overwhelmed, right, that's what you're going to have. That backflow, and now is running off, into your
Into
and mix it with your runoff,
that's
and
right.
people now are wading in these waters knee height and whatnot, and it's splashing in their food and their car. Even if you drive through it and you bring that trace, you
Uh,
know,
that
um,
gray water, as it's
gray,
called.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and you're holding your car door and stuff, and you're touching this. It's a big contamination. A lot of contamination there. And you bring that in your homes and stuff. But the poor people now who have to walk through these waters in Port of Spain and go to the bus terminal there in South Key, right?
Sad state, sad
You know,
state. But
so
I'm not to be honest with you. Let's look at our areas which we have earmarked, Ken. Let's leave that for the engineers in the city corporation, so let them solve the city problem. I think our focus, we should really try to solve the communities that are affected: Bamboo 123, St. Helena, um, Real Spring, Valsin South, and these areas, Chaguanas to an extent,
yeah,
and
the
then Woodland,
areas the
Woodland
areas that
back.
are lying within the floodplain along those main conveyances, those main rivers,
Because
they are at
nothing,
risk.
let me tell you, nothing was done by the PNM when they were there to solve these problems.
But
But these
hold on a
communities,
second. Let me recap here. They did try to do something by the lighthouse there,
well,
and
but no,
with the trash rack. And
yes.
again, the water elevation in South Key was higher than the one in the ocean, right?
So,
So that is their type of engineering. That's their
yeah,
solution, right?
yeah. But
And again, waste taxpayers' money,
yeah,
millions of taxpayers' dollars wasted,
so
millions.
let's
We are
focus.
not going to go down that road
No,
ever. We'll learn from that, right? But
I
I'm going to say it
see.
again. No
Yeah,
one in Trinidad and Tobago should be implementing a 2D trash rack. It is part of the problem.
that's right.
You're going to exacerbate the problem there, right? If you think
It
you're solving it, no.
doesn't
Because
solve
I
any
just showed
problem.
you a picture where the plastic bags will get
Yeah,
stuck on that trash grating, that 2D trash grating, and
yeah,
it would reduce the cross section,
yeah.
right?
So
So it constrict the flow.
yeah, so this is what, and that's what I say. We should focus on the areas, on the fringes of the plains, bounded by the various constituencies, and hopefully that the MPs for these areas come on board and they see, well, we are offering a solution to this flooding problem.
A viable solution that's been proven, tested.
Proven and tested, right? We may not reach the 100-year storm level, but we can shoot for the 25-year level, definitely.
Definitely,
Right?
we'll detain the 25, and we'll
Yes.
try our best now to expand on the network of drains
Yeah.
and rivers, right, to enhance the flow, right, so that we can
Because,
convey the 100. And that is the
because
design philosophy.
yes,
At the
correct.
same time,
Mhm.
safeguarding the communities and preventing the riverine flooding, and then addressing the localized flooding, right, with a series of storage, internal storage within the catchment, and have
Mhm.
a pump system where we have a dual pump for
Correct.
redundancy.
Dual pump.
Correct, for redundancy. So if one was to
And
go down,
one
the other one will kick in.
and one will always be a diesel, one will be a electric or other option.
Correct. And that's the approach that I would look at, right, moving forward, right? You know, it has, we have to embrace resilient, climate resilient designs, not trial and
Yeah.
error, lighthouse trial and error, not
No.
lighthouse trial and error. And I'm going to use that term often now, not lighthouse trial and error engineering, where the ocean, where the water in South Key, the water elevation
Higher
in South Key was much higher than the ocean by the lighthouse,
and no flowing out, no
and nothing
egress.
flowing, and two pumps sitting there and no flow, right?
So you see, one of our major problems, Ken, if I may say, is that we need to have a lot of agencies coming on board with this. This is not a one-man show or two-ministry show. It has to be something coordinated, very well coordinated from not only drainage department, agriculture department, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Rural Development, but all a number of sub-agencies as well. WASA, for example, the clean up the garbage, the guys who pick up the garbage. You don't want to clean the river and put it in the bank, and next thing, rain falls, washes back everything. So you have to be something very coordinated, very, very coordinated, and there must be some team to look at maintenance of the water courses and will, do their project planning accordingly, because it's not a 6 months job. This is something 12 months for the year.
But it has to be continuous. Maintenance has to be year round, right?
And this is
We
the
have to
thing.
maintain.
Only in the flooding season, the rainy season, we see excavators and backhoes at work. This is 3 months now. I mean, it's January, February. This is the third month. I haven't seen any. I mean, I drove around a lot in January month around. I ain't seen no river courses being cleaned, nothing. All the
Well, look,
vines
at
and they're
some point
still
we're
there.
going to get to that. Yeah? Remember, the government just came in power, and we are, they're doing a fabulous job, right? And we are going to be
Extremely
we are
good.
going to be working with them also and making the
Yeah.
recommendations, right?
Yes.
But so far we're on the right track,
Mhm.
right? And I'm getting a lot of very positive response, right, from everyone. And we're identifying problems and we're working with all the stakeholders to ensure that at the end of the day, the people get what they voted for. And that is
Yeah.
performance,
And
right?
I was
And we are here to deliver that
expecting,
and work with the
I was-
government.
yes, definitely. I think we should be working with the government, but I was expecting a plan, an implementation plan that would have kicked in January
Well,
as the
no,
dry season
we
commenced.
I think we have to,
Pessoal, o vídeo de agora é recolhendo só as bolas.
but we also have to sit and look at the overall holistic plan for the entire, catchment, right? Each one of these catchments, right, will involve a certain amount of resources. Now, the worst or the most challenging river basin there is the Caroni River
It's still
Basin.
running, then backing up, it's still running.
Is that a bad thing? Can start backing up.
Ken, is that one you sent me?
Look why the flooding taking place in Port of Spain. The whole of South Key. Look at here. Look at it. And this is the pump here by the lighthouse, right? This is the lighthouse here, Port of Spain right there. Look at the water in here. Like the jail for Port of Spain, where the water is supposed to come down, right? And watch how the water falling out. You see how it's falling out fully? Because to the back of them iron body is only rubbish. And the rubbish holding back the water. So the water is slipping through little spaces. The water not flowing out straight. Only rubbish. Look at the water. And what's there? And that's what's right about it. See what's going on there? The better start work. What do you hear about this? Them big pump, they're supposed to be pulling that water there and pushing it out. And the tide low. So how it is, the city is flooding. Total failure.
Go ahead, Ken.
Gary, could you post that, repost that picture with the 2D trash grating with all the plastic against it now? Because I want the people to see what they saw there, that constriction in Port of
This
Spain.
one,
Right,
yeah.
right. So this is what was happening there in Port of Spain. We have this 2D gate or trash trap, right? Implemented, two of them. And look at the plastic that are getting stuck or hung up on this gate, this grating, along with other organic materials such as grass clippings and stuff, right? It's creating a constriction. And we saw firsthand, all well, what this could cause. It could cause the entire place to get flooded. Instead of solving the problem, you have actually made the problem worse.
Correct.
And I'm going to
Correct.
say it, Trinidad and Tobago, whenever you see this structure anywhere, please call in the show or please report it or bring it to our attention because this is a problem. It is going to cause your place to flood or it is going to render your pump ineffective. Right? You will see your wet well dry as a biscuit, the pump is not being engaged, and the entire place behind this trash grating is flooding because the water cannot recharge the wet well so that the lift pump could lift it and throw it out in the main conveyance. So anywhere anyone in Trinidad and Tobago sees a 2D trash rack, please report it to us, sending a picture or something, because that is a flood risk right there. That structure for addressing flooded for trash is only creating a major problem there, and it is a constriction. It's a reduction of the cross section, right? It impedes the flow, and you're going to have a flooding problem there. These should not be used ever. And I'm going to, I mean, caution the Ministry of Works Drainage Division, please, and even the corporations, please do not implement these 2D trash grating because you're seeing firsthand on the screen there the problem. I don't even have to explain it. We live in a world where there's plastic waste escaping into the environment, and this is one of the problems that it could cause with these 2D trash traps. It could cause flooding, and that is right there on the screen. It's self-explanatory. I don't even have to explain this. What you see in there. Samad?
But yes, Ken, but this is just ordinary
But
trash.
hold on a second. Let me just finish up, Lito. Now in Port of Spain, they deployed two of this in their design, and I didn't even have to explain that video. It's self-explanatory, right? The water elevation in South Key could not efficiently flow through those trash traps because the flow has been impeded. It's clogged. It's constricted with garbage, with plastic waste, right?
But can-
And the ocean in a low tide, the water level is way lower than that in South Key. And the
Correct.
poor people now who have to go and get their bus to their means of transportation and stuff to go to wherever they need to go, have to wade through these waters, knee height or whatever, right? Put on all kind of plastic bags in their feet and stuff, and go to the bus station to catch their bus, right?
No,
And I like to speak out about this, Samad,
Mhm.
because when people continue doing this thing over and over, right? We have to speak out against it. This is obsolete engineering, right? This is obsolete, just like the sluice gates. Just like those flaps, there are limitations,
You
right?
know,
2D trash
and
trap should not be used ever.
I'm sure, I'm sure the Ministry of Works had a hand to either build this or inspect it or authorize someone. And here's it. Did you see the layman, the guy who was commenting on this? I'm sure he's no engineer. He may be just a resident of the area, sea lots, right? And
Well,
he
Sumant,
is
happy to say that the Ministry of Works Drainage Division contacted me to solve this problem, and I came up with a solution, which is an industrial design, and I
Mhm.
implemented that in 2014 under the UNC government, and it is working well. It's still working today, right? And again, my backflow system, the Ministry of Works and Transport Drainage Division contacted me, right, because they had a problem with a sluice gate. They tried to fix it twice, and twice it failed. And again, they contacted me, and I developed a solution for them. And today, that solution is working. You know, I mean, it has
this
exceeded all engineering expectation.
right. So I think this one is still in existence, by the way. This is at sea lots.
No, this is
Closest.
Babu number 3.
This one?
Yeah,
Okay. This was before you implemented your system.
correct. But this gate is still there, but my trash trap is in front of this gate. So garbage does
Wow.
not get down to that gate. So I told them, I said, you could leave it, or you could, it swings on two pivots, right? So you can swing it
Right.
up, but the thing is, my garbage trash trap addresses all of the garbage before it gets to this gate.
Right. So this basically is the point of no return, the last one.
Correct.
Yeah. Good. Well, we can show them solutions. I'm sure the Minister of Works will be very interested in something like this.
No, definitely. Yeah, look, the Minister of Works is very eager to solve this problem,
Because
right?
she is
And
very focused
she's
in
I see
Port
her
of
in the
Spain.
morning, getting up in the 4 o'clock in the morning, and she's up out and about. She's doing a fabulous job there, right? And I would show that that she wouldn't want to do stuff like what happened in the lighthouse there, right? That was a total embarrassment with the last government. They tried to fix the flooding problem in Port of Spain, and they only made it worse, right? So
Right.
that is type of stuff we will advise on, right? And we'll guide the process, because again, we don't want to be wasting taxpayers' money, right?
Correct. And I'm sure they have a big engineering team, the drainage department. We could do that presentation for them.
Yes,
If she is.
definitely. A lot of them know me there, right? Um, I recently went down to Manzanilla, and I'm
Right.
trying to solve
You
a problem down
showed,
there also.
you showed that one with the erosion of the materials itself, all the hinges and so on rusted, falling
Yeah,
apart.
yeah. So that is in discussion right now, and the minister is well aware of it, and we're working with all of the stakeholders there to solve that,
Nice,
right?
nice.
But I don't want to talk about that right now. I don't want to get too much in that, because we have to sit and discuss that. So yeah. But look, the government is doing all that they can, and we're working together to bring the proposals.
Yeah,
You know, and
just remember, guys. The funding is, even though with our best intention, we have to accumulate that funding.
Yes, so we could
definitely.
do the most, Ken, after we look at the solutions, we can see what are the low hanging ones we can implement, least cost and so on,
Of
that
course,
can
of
have the
course,
maximum impact.
of course.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
I will want to focus on the communities to
that's what
safeguard
I'm,
the
yes,
residents.
that's what I'm saying. That's the point I was trying to make. Look,
Yeah,
let's look at the one where the people on the plains basically were bordering 4, 5, 6 constituencies. That is where we have to make the helping.
yeah, definitely. Woodland, South
Woodland,
Oropouche.
Parkport,
Yeah,
Oropouche West, Pfizer. That's 5 constituencies right there. So a lot of
along the
people that
entire
can.
Carney River Basin, the mid and lower
Correct,
basin of the
correct.
Carney.
And, and these areas were definitely neglected, 100% neglected under the PNM, because they were all UNC areas. that's a geographic discrimination which you always talk about. You know, so
So my the last government, the PNM, again,
nothing
try
was
to,
done.
well, hear
Speaking of
what they try.
discrimination, you guys listen carefully to Parliament today. Did you
I
get a chance to listen to Dr.
I
Munila? Did you get a chance to listen to Vandana?
yeah, I
I
listened.
listened to it briefly, Vandana, when she was talking. Um, yeah.
How
So
many
Suman,
social?
Suman, go ahead. I think you probably saw
I saw
the
some
Parliament.
of it, how many backlog applications and so on they were, and she has more or less cleaned up that 5,000 odd applications, and people are getting their benefits and so on. So that was good. On Munilal was mentioning about uh, the Chinese who are given, or who earned, I should say, exploration licenses for 2 deep water projects, oil exploration projects. So he's going with anyone who is willing to pay and contribute for exploration for oil and gas. And Chinese always one of the big players. You see that they are not popular in this part of the world, but they are most of the oil from Saudi Arabia and Iran goes through Chinese company because they're the world's largest importer. I think their consumption is 8.5 million barrels per day.
Wow.
8.5 million barrels per day. So these are the big players. So they're willing to stretch into deep water drilling or say seismic surveys and so on to explore for oil. And why, if they could pay the price, why not? So that was good what Dr. Munila was saying. It doesn't have to be ExxonMobil or Chevron or one of the BP or BHP Billiton
Well,
or
certainly, and it's called diversification of our energy sector. We just don't
correct,
have one player there. We have multiple
correct.
multiple
Yeah,
players, right? It's a
there's
global economy that we're living in, right?
yes.
So yeah,
So
so it's
the
called diversification
Aramco.
of our
You see,
energy
yeah,
sector.
you see, Ken, what happens is that there's easy oil and gas. There's not so easy oil and gas, and then there's expensive oil and gas. The easy ones are ones which are, let's say, shallow wells. They get oil easily. Not like what is happening in Mexico. I mean, Mexico, in Venezuela, Lake Maracaibo, and Essequibo in Guyana. The oil is more or less on the just below the surface. But when you get into deep sea, you're talking 5,000 feet and more.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
these companies, Chinese, they are willing to take up the expenditure to do that, to tell you how much they really need this raw material, which is
So man,
called
the
oil.
Chinese and the Indian economy is growing, right?
Fantastic rate, seven
China
and a
is
half
is probably one of
percent.
the largest economy in the world.
Yeah. So
And
check.
India is also the fourth largest economy, right? By
So check.
2030, India consumption might jump to about 7.5 to 8 million barrels or 9 million
Yes.
barrels per day.
So oil has to be found,
Correct.
and whether you go shallow wells, deep wells, medium wells, you just have to find
Yeah.
it.
And talking
And
about
now,
oil, the price of oil is about $92 a barrel WTI.
yeah, because of what's happening in the Straits of Hormuz, the
Yeah.
Suez Canal area, from the fallout of this invasion, and what invasion, but the Gulf War with Iran and US and Israel, what's happening there. So all these things, geopolitical issues, are having a high toll on oil prices. West Texas Intermediate was $90.59 today. Brent crude was $92.69 today. Those, I mean, it might be by next week, if the situation becomes more tense, it could very well hit $100.
I think it's going to jump over $100.
And the projection in Trinidad, we can earn $10 million US every month because of what's happening now. So it's, it's as I always say, Trinidad and Tobago is in a sweet spot. Is how we manage this thing, and thank God what the Prime Minister did. That calculated risk she took, and it has paid off for us. Let's see what next steps are being negotiated tomorrow in Doral. They're meeting at the Doral, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, Doral, not Mar El Lago down Palm Beach. They meeting at the Doral, which is also Trump's property, by the way.
Yeah. But Sumant, I want to come back to something you just mentioned there, right?
Yeah.
With the Prime Minister taking a calculated risk, because we also supported that decision,
Yes,
and we
yes,
spoke about it
definitely.
here, where with the U.S. Maduro situation, right?
Yeah,
And the
way back. We,
yeah,
in fact, we projected what can be projected way back in October. In October, I remember it's
yeah,
just before
we
Thanksgiving.
said it
People
was
saying,
optimistic outlook moving
yes,
forward
yes,
in a post Maduro Venezuela.
yes, and so said, so done. So we were right on track. We were right
Definitely.
on track, on this thing here. I'm sure, a lot more cooperation is being sought between Guyana and Suriname and Trinidad and so on. And it depends how this thing is leveraged. We can be the the more successful beneficiary of it all without having real oil and gas. Because
Sumant
as
and
I always say, the people who refine and market the oil are the ones who make the most profits, not the one who
definitely
produces the oil. The one who produces the oil do not make as much profit because they are selling a raw material.
the
But
value added to it.
the value added generated from refining the oil and marketing that oil and all the transportation and storage and bunkering and all these sorts of things, these are the people who make the money. And I say make more money than the actual producers of the oil. That's why I keep on saying we are in a sweet spot should this refinery thing get up to speed and running. We
Definitely,
will be the
Sumant.
most
Definitely.
benefiting from out of Suriname, Guyana, and all the other Caribbean islands.
We
We
have
will
Venezuela.
be,
We have the Dragon gas deal.
man, the Manatee Field, the Dragon
Manatee.
Gas, Soldado, all these
Mhm.
things, once they come on stream, my friend, we are in a sweet spot. We looking at how it was 10, 15 years ago, where you could have just walk into the bank and say, hey, you know what? I need 25,000 US dollars. Okay, come in the morning and pick up the check.
Yeah, yeah.
Rather than the kind of fight for $200 every week. And
Imagine that.
you have to show them a ticket.
Imagine that.
Check them out.
$200 a week. Or
That can even pay for one hotel night in the US if you're traveling.
yeah.
How you going from the airport to where you with your destination?
Well, Suman, also since you're in the topic, right?
Yeah.
What about the 350,000 citizens who are
You-
US visa holders? What would have
you
happened
see,
to them?
No, you see, Ken, this is what I'm saying. You do not hear, nobody talks about these things because this is a win for the UNC, for the people of TNT.
And also, let me just add to that. Tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the CARICOM countries that are being represented there tomorrow at that meeting?
There's a few of them. I know Guyana, Suriname, Jamaica.
Jamaica is there also?
Yeah, so I heard Holness is there because they were trying to take the lead. And I think Mark Rubio kind of put them in their place and said, no,
Okay.
Trinidad should be the one spearheading this thing. So we'll see if that is true or not coming out.
But
of what
again, the Prime Minister made the right decision from the
Yes.
very get-go, right? He made the right decision and she
You see,
continues to seek the best interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
definitely, definitely. And you know what, Ken? But not only the oil and the refinery and the gas and so on. Remember, we have two LNG plants down in Trinidad that are
Yes.
not operational at this point in time. Eh?
Yeah.
You know, I think the train 1 and the train 2 are down because of insufficient gas. They had to close it down. National NGL, National Gas Company, they spent 200 million to refurbish it, and then they had to close it. To tell you the way that the P&M economics is. After you spend 200 million, you got to close it.
You have to
When they were
mothball
telling
it.
you,
It
yeah.
has to be mothballed.
So you
Right.
see, I'm very, very optimistic, but more so on that 350,000 Trinis who can come and go to the US as they please. That has a lot of implications for, you know, our peoples to travel, to go, people go on medical attention, people,
Yeah.
children away in universities and so on, higher education and what have you, even travel and entertainment. Why not? People
It is
who
very
have money,
important to some people who need to
yes,
seek medical attention, who are
yes,
seeking medical attention, right?
and whose
And
kids
seeing
are
their doctors
away.
and stuff, and the kids in
Yeah,
university and all this other stuff. Yeah,
correct.
so
Who
it's
want
very,
to
very important to
up,
some people.
upgrade their skills. Like myself, I can tell you often I upgraded my skills. I didn't need. I mean, I didn't got foreign exchange to do that, but I mean, you had to get it. I was one of the lucky ones, but everybody is not like that. You know, being able to travel that alone. That alone is such a big thing that I never seen nothing elaborate in the press about these things. In fact, they suppress these news, this type of news, because it's such a big, big win for UNC. And I don't think they leverage this thing enough to show that what were the consequences if they had tightened that visa for Trinis. What
Well,
would have
no,
been the
Sumad,
consequences?
what would have been the consequences if the PNM came back in government? That should
Well,
be the question,
yes,
right?
along with that,
Everything would have fallen along here.
yeah,
You think we would
oh,
have been
no,
entertaining
you
a
get
OFAC
stuck.
license,
You get stuck
a
in,
general OFAC license and stuff?
yeah,
No, it would have been a
wherever you,
disaster,
yeah,
right? Even the
wherever you
relationship
are.
with Guyana, right?
Yes, yeah. Nothing happened when the PNM was there. Nothing.
Because they were dancing with the narco terrorists in
Mm-hmm.
the Congo line and stuff, and
Congo line, correct,
and we didn't
correct,
even
correct.
start to pump a nip of gas from this dragon thing, and they dancing and stuff with the enemy. How would Guyana? Why they wouldn't want to partner with us, right? When you dancing
So,
with my enemy, think about it.
so I am seeing that we have really bright,
Because hold on a
bright.
second, let me say one thing. Because Kamala Prasad, the honorable prime minister, she drew the line up front in the very
Mhm,
beginning and said
yeah,
that Venezuela cannot touch Guyana, right? We respect their sovereignty, right? And that should not, that annexing that they want to do of the Essequibo, right?
that's
She was
good. Yeah,
against that and she
no,
denounced that off the bat right there. And she drew the
no,
line.
I can
She
listen,
wasn't playing no two-faced wishy-washy. She drew the line right there
but you
and said, no, 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 you cannot
juxtapose
do that.
you juxtapose that against what CARICOM was saying, because CARICOM said nothing. They were silent. They were all silent, which leads me to believe that they all had some sort of hand in the cookie jar of Maduro. Maduro. He, that they were under the spell of the drug lords. So all of them are getting kickbacks and so on. So now nobody stood up but our prime minister
Yeah,
to
yeah,
support Guyana. Nobody.
correct. And
That
we
is
stood
right.
there, right? And it shows
So
now how we are building on that relationship,
I'm
right?
sure she was very adamant to say, well, this is no zone of peace. Zone of peace, my foot. There was no zone of peace because when you all are collecting money on the hand from these drug lords, we are facing a migration problem for when he's trying to
That
settle in
and
Trinidad.
absolutely. You see,
So,
no one looking at the citizens, the persons who were being politically
affected.
prosecuted and had
Yeah,
to
and then
flee. Correct me if
we,
I'm wrong, but about 8 million of them fled
yep,
Venezuela,
yeah, to
right? They went into
next
neighboring
door,
countries. A lot of them
Colombia.
came across to Trinidad,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you see them in Trinidad, they're working for, menial jobs, trying to survive, right? And these people are
So,
sitting on the largest oil reserve on the planet, and
man,
they're starving over there. Does that make sense, Sumad?
yeah,
You
that's
sitting in the
disease.
largest oil reserve, and you have people having to forage through the garbage to look for stuff to
Yeah,
sell and to survive. That doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
that doesn't make sense at all. So,
So,
thanks to the
no,
PM for taking that nice,
correct, yeah.
calculated risk, and we have benefited in already in so many different ways. They, this one they're going to talk tomorrow is a potential win, but what about the other wins which we have already benefited from? The visa issue, the
That's correct.
50 tax-free entry into the U.S. market. So
Reduction of the
three,
tariffs.
yeah, tariff reductions.
Yeah,
Eh?
yeah.
How come all of a sudden we starting to benefit from all these things? And the U.S. intervention in our refinery. They say, that,
Mhm.
they should start back the refinery. I don't care who is going to come and do the job. It doesn't matter to me. Once it's Trinidad and Tobago, it's happening here. I know the spin-offs are going to be tremendous for the people. And we're down to this foreign exchange issue being solved once and for all. So there's a lot of
Absolutely.
positive things happening. Um, Along with this, I see Dr. Munila is stressing and emphasizing a lot of expats most likely will be, or if not, are already in the island. And what thing is going to hamper our relationship is the level of crime. So you see that is affecting or will affect business outcomes.
Crime is
Investors,
going to affect every single sector, Sumad. Every single
yes,
sector. The
especially now.
even the people in Port of Spain there, Doma, or what do you call it, downtown merchants
Well,
of Port of
no,
Spain.
no, no, no mind a waste of we
Yeah,
he was quiet for 10 years.
yeah. Now
About
he's crying.
about yeah,
Crime
he's
is,
crying.
they're breaking into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
stores and all sorts of stuff there.
All in a sudden. We even you heard the parliament today.
Yeah.
They
But what
walked
about the
out.
little doubles man and stuff getting robbed inside the road there,
No,
right?
that
They
means
don't have
nothing to
no
them.
association, right? But they're getting robbed. There's a lot of home invasion going on, right? And we need to speak out about these things also because there's a lot of crime happening at a certain level, right?
Yes.
We may not see it in the murders, but there's a lot of home invasions. Correct me if I'm wrong, but something
Uh,
happened today where there was a home invasion, and
Look at this.
Come
but this thing
on.
is becoming common every day. But
I want you guys to listen to something here. Hold on a second.
Treasury per month. That was on 10 million, which I announced yesterday. So, Mr. Speaker, the social economic landscape would change. And with that would come greater investment in the social programs, greater investment in employment creation. And that is what we are about, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the energy sector, it is my pleasure to report on a matter that has passed and is relevant to at least the concern in what is really a badly worded motion. But if the concern is genuine, we can speak about the concern because the motion itself, as I said, is badly worded. And the members opposite should really take the responsibility for that. Because you see, Mr. Speaker, I would tell you in the budget in 2025, October, the Prime Minister caused to be inserted in the budget a provision where we recognize, ongoing challenges for ordinary citizens in Trinidad and Tobago. And as an accountable government, it is our responsibility to meet and treat with persons in the society who are not as fortunate as others. And that is why we reduce the price of super gasoline at the gas station pump by $1 per liter. When the member rate from the government notice raised it 4 times. We reduce it. The first chance the member for Oropouche West had at the well, we say the fishbowl, but at the podium here. The first chance he got at the podium, he dropped the price of super gasoline. Mr. Speaker, I can report that this benefited, Mr. Speaker, 400,000 vehicle owners. 400,000 vehicle owners benefited, which accounts for 40% of the total number of vehicles. Mr. Speaker, I can indicate that the average person saved $200 per month, and we have spent from the Treasury to assist the population $390 million to assist. That is how you assist people in times of social economic challenge. You lower the price of gasoline, Mr. Speaker. You remove VAT from food items. That is how you help. So that to bring this argument that you don't care and there's no logic and people suffering is really, I believe, frivolous. I don't know what happened if they had a deadline to meet and they realized they had no motion on the order paper and they just tell them, file something, you know, and set up the member for Laventille West. You understand, Mr. Speaker? So something is amiss there. And Mr. Speaker, this government has brought relief to the ordinary citizen of Trinidad and Tobago through several measures. And Mr. Speaker, the data, as I said, we must be data-driven. The data don't bear them out at all. I'm hearing the member for Diego Martin Central talking to them. This is what they do. Huh? When they talk, they just pull figures from the sky. And, you know, it might be 10,000. Then I hear something with tens of thousands. Then somebody said 200,000 people lost their job. The only people who really lost their job and have mental problems is the members opposite. I think they are going through a learning curve. They have lost their jobs April last year, and some of them, not all, unemployable. Untrainable, you say, and unemployable. And I mean, that is a labor market challenge as well. So, members opposite, we can understand the stress. We can understand that. That is not something difficult to understand. So, I wanted to indicate that. You know, and another issue that struck me, Mr. Speaker, with this badly worded motion that was driven by something else. I don't know what it was driven at. Several speakers opposite spoke about this matter. It's called mass termination and mass this and mass that and so on. And then they had to read this one, non-renewal of contracts. You know, non-renewal of contracts. Mr. Speaker, I listened to that and I read it, of course, because on the last occasion I had the opportunity to listen to a speaker, I believe was the member for, what is Malabar? Mausika? Yeah. I listened to him as well speak, and I have his presentation here, his contribution, of course. And in his contribution, I don't want to misquote our radio announcer, but you know, I don't misquote him at all, you know. But yes, he made reference here. He spoke about mass terminations and non-renewal of contracts and so on. Mr. Speaker, in 2015, when the then government came in, within a day or two, they marched into URP offices in San Fernando, Pinal, Chaguanas, and just went and said, listen, all of you out. The government changed, everybody gone. Please, get out. Go on. And people were shocked. I mean, some people knew they may have to go, but they expected that 2 months or 3 months or something, grace or something. Mr. Speaker, they got no grace before, during, or after meals. They got none. And they go on. Mr. Speaker, and today I'm here, non-renewal. Mr. Speaker, the classic example of this wickedity, on the part of the members opposite. You know, Google that. Or some might say, Google that. Or Google that. Mr. Speaker, uh, Mr. Speaker, the example of wickedity I bring to the table now is when I got in, Mr. Speaker, into office, I have in my hand a minute sheet from a minute, one of these big time files, you know. When members were opposite here, there were two members for Portisville North, St. Anne's West, former member for San Fernando West, I believe. Sometime Lavantil West. Okay. Sometimes Lavantil West. When he was awake, which was rare, Mr. Speaker, they would come in the house and bring two big books and throw all the files on the desk and only appear. There's in management, there's something called image management. It means give people the impression that you're working hard. And we say, oh, these people busy. I mean, what busy? Plenty work. And Mr. Speaker, their personal files and their files from CPO to sign, you know, confirming terms and conditions of work. But sometimes one file could be 3 inches thicker. And when they come here, you think it's some important thing they're dealing with. And this time, you know, it's two clerks and a stenographer, a butler and cook or something somewhere. We have to confirm their terms and conditions, you know, or pay, or somebody spent $250 more and we need to reimburse. But Mr. Speaker, those files I'm referring to, I bring only the sheets, 1 or 2 pages. And Mr. Speaker, do you know when the member for Portisville North, St. Anne's West, and you know, his absence is not a fault of the government, huh? I want to put that on the record here. His continuing absence is not a fault of the government. Members are free for their personal or professional reasons and so on to be excused and so on. That's part of our setup. But the government is not to be blamed. So if the government wants to answer a question, the government should answer a question. The government is not to be blamed. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, I want to draw your attention. A file came before him and on this issue of non-renewal of contracts, which was raised by several of them. Yeah, it's in the motion too. Mr. Speaker, a file came before that minister in 2021, it was May. And the legal department in the ministry, you'll be shocked, the legal department in that Ministry of Energy recommended 6 operators for continuation of contract license. A lease operator and farm out operation and so on. It's called 6. Touchstone Corporation, Oil Belt Services, I'm not calling the names of principals, I'm just calling the company. Touchstone Corporation, Oil Belt Services, Lease Operators Limited, T.N. Ramnath and Company Limited, Petroleum Contracting Services, and Muncie Oil Company, not Munihal, Muncie Oil Company Limited. The legal department in the ministry recommended 6. The Minister of Energy at that time, on the 10th of May 2021, placed in the minute file, P.S. Minute refers, I have executed all sub-license except one, but one. This particular sub-license is of concern to me and I wanted to do some inquiring first. So the ministry now recommends 6. The only one the minister decided that he have to inquire more into is T.N. Ramnath and Company Limited, South-based contractor. Why? 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 I say because he's from Pinal. Mr. Speaker, so in May 2021, he says I have to inquire. When I arrive on the compound, in May 2025, I saw the file. I am told by the officials that that is... Yes, please, Mr. Speaker. Let me get quickly here. So, Mr. Speaker, I took the file, I looked at it, I asked the legal department, they said they have no difficulty. I said, did the minister ever inquire anything more? They said, we have no record of the minister inquiring anything more. And for 4 years, refused to give an extension on a sublease.
That is wickedness.
That is wickedness. That is what you're talking about. So, Mr. Speaker, 2 months later, I placed on the file, I have inquired, approved, Rudolph Munilal. In July 2025, I approved. And Mr. Speaker, there was an excellent thing I'll put on the record because I'm showing the depth of wickedity by the PNM administration. He didn't stop. The then minister actually, you have to sign and duplicate. He signed 1 copy. And then when he realized who it's for, he said, hold up, I have to inquire. When I signed, I told him I'll sign the 2nd copy. They are now the only operator with a license signed by 2 ministers of energy. In 2 separate administrations. They said, but minister, you can sign both, we'll just print it over. I said, don't print over nothing. That must be a lasting example of discrimination, malice, vindictiveness. Ridiculous, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I put that on the table because, you know, when I hear, I mean, my younger colleagues, they just arrived yesterday. So we don't want to, you know, press them too much. You know, they don't know. And they lack guidance on that side, terribly. And I tell my young colleagues, I mean, you all, if you're bright enough, I think you must seek guidance on this side. Look at the experience, look at the qualifications, look at the skill level. Look here, if you need advice, if you need help, if you depend on those on this far side of the opposition, I want to tell you something. What the former prime minister, your cuckoo cook. If you depend on them. Mr. Speaker, so the member for Diego Martin Central, really, he added nothing to the debate. He converted oxygen to carbon dioxide. And there's nothing to think of him. I read the that was his contribution. I read the contributions from Maleva. I read the contribution from the mover of the motion, of course, and I had those matters to raise. You see, Mr. Speaker, and on the social economic development front, again, I want to indicate, Mr. Speaker, that we are extremely proud that within recent times, the developments in the energy sector has led us, Mr. Speaker, to pay dividend. Phoenix Park Gas Processors, for example, announced just yesterday at an annual general meeting that for the first time in 3 years, they will pay dividends to their shareholders. First time in 3 years. And this is coming, Mr. Speaker, this is coming after they have indicated, Mr. Speaker, that the total amount of dividends paid since May 1st, 2025 is 50 million United States dollars. It was in compliance with Phoenix Park Gas dividend policy, and that, of course, is for their shareholders, Mr. Speaker. In fact, I am informed by NGC that they are even considering paying dividends in United States dollars. That is where we have reached, Mr. Speaker. So if you ask the question, the total amount of dividends that have been paid to date and which currency, I will indicate that to date, we have paid 50 million United States dollars. And that was paid, Mr. Speaker, in United States dollars. Mr. Speaker, if somebody would be bold enough to ask me, Mr. Speaker, how much the National Gas Corporation payment of dividends from May 1st, 2025? If you are bold enough to ask that question, Mr. Speaker, how much did they pay and in which currency? Because this adds to our social economic development. Mr. Speaker, I'll be proud to tell you that the amount of dividends that have been paid since May 1st, 2025 is $666,965,900 Trinidad and Tobago dollars. Paid in Trinidad and Tobago dollars from May 1, 2025. So, Mr. Speaker, these payments are payments that are made to shareholders. It boosts our economic development. It puts us in a position where we can happily meet and treat with some of our social responsibilities. We can meet and treat with employment and so on. Mr. Speaker, in winding up this matter, in winding up my arguments here, I was shocked by a particular matter. I want to congratulate the Member of Parliament for the constituency of Princestown, of Couva North. Couva South, sorry. I congratulated Couva North already. Couva South now. Who raised an interesting matter because I had to read his presentation as well, the leader of government business. And he referred to the member for Laventille West as also being as a matter of fact, not an opinion, being a recipient or beneficiary of CPEP contracts. Now, at first I said, what? But the member for Couva South is known to do his research and get his figures and so on. So no one expects him to say something unless he's properly researched. And Mr. Speaker, I awaited some information which I received just today. I received, I think, an hour or two ago, Mr. Speaker. And I am told that there's a company called BK Construction Limited. Entered into contract relationships and contracts with CPEP from October 2018 to October 2019, then October 2019 to October 2021, then 2021 to 2022, then 2023 to 2029. It would have still been subsisting had action not been taken. Mr. Speaker, this contractor received a total payment from CPEP of $8,489,276.49. Let me repeat that because this let me get some water. Repeat that. I throat got dry calling that figure. CPEP, $8,489,276.49. Well, we do away with cents, so that will be 50 cents. All right. That's the finance minister. 50 cents. So, Mr. Speaker, this contractor, and there's a rule in this parliament, which again, I don't blame Laventille West. I blame the senior members opposite. I blame them. When I looked through his speech, there was no reference to indicate that he had an interest, a personal or beneficial interest in matters that he's speaking about. I remember over the years, the PNM made a big...
Standing Order 48.6, the member did announce in this parliament that he was a recipient of CPEP contracts in the past.
I think there's a different standing order for disclosure of conflicts of interest. 48.6 deals with the imputations of improper motive. I don't think there's an imputation. So there's no imputation.
Mr. Speaker, unless what is the standing order? What is this
48.6? The member is claiming that this member here is doing something improper in the parliament, but is imputing improper motives.
There's a different standing order that deals with declarations of conflicts of interest. There's a different standing order. Standing order 48.6 is meant to deal with the imputations of improper motive. All the member is saying, look, I've ruled on this, move on.
Mr. Speaker, nowhere in the Hansard in this debate did the member, unless I miss it, did the member make reference to his interest in the debate and piloting this motion. So, Mr. Speaker, on that grounds alone, and the member for San Fernando, he said, you cannot declare what is the interest of Laventille West. You must declare your own interest. No, you can't say what he said. What do you think this is? This is not a snack, it is the parliament. You can't be telling me what he said and he will speak for himself. And we are saying on the Hansard there is no reference. And Mr. Speaker,
let me just confirm. You've said something. You've scoured the Hansard and there's no reference to it. Okay.
But Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is that in my hand is also notice concerning company documents, and it is now a confirmed fact that Laventille West was involved in that company, BK Construction Limited, as deemed to be a businessman. Now, I have no problem with that. That is his right. Everyone is entitled to, conduct professional and business work and so on. That is his right. But on that ground, I find it shocking that the member may not have been.
Gentlemen, go ahead.
No, well,
Well, yeah.
see. Yeah, man.
Suma, I
listen
want
to
to hear
most
you.
of
I got more information to come on. Go ahead, Suma.
I listened to most of it. I listened, especially the 10 million US per month. That was the beneficiary that will be benefiting from that because of the higher oil prices. So that is what I was interested in. I listened to that part of it carefully. This little part in the end about the, this member, that member, I really don't think that is more piquant story. I look at real tangible benefits, money, nothing else. So that was my point about it. I look at the financial aspects and how we, the citizens, can benefit from all of this. He identified, Dr. Mulila, that is identified exactly what I said before. But this last bit of utterances between the member for Diego Martin Central and him, imagine they getting contracts up to 2029. One contract was renewed from 2025 to 2029. And when he came on his desk, he nullified that. So at least some action has been taken. On the other side is that when they look at they were discriminated against people who are not in their good stead, like the contractor, the small oil explorer, Mr. Ramnath from Pinal. So again, they look for their friends and family only. And
But Suman, I didn't get to play certain parts of it. I'm gonna get the whole thing. But what I'm saying to you is the PNM come in. This is the part I want you to pick up on. And they start kicking everybody out that was of the previous government.
yeah,
right?
it was,
Right
that
now.
was,
Carony, I'm gonna get the part maybe
but,
tomorrow night for Carony
but,
workers.
but
What
Gary,
Monilako, did you listen to the part in the parliament about Carony workers?
let me,
Carony workers?
yeah, but let
Go
me
ahead, go
stop
ahead,
you
do
there.
it. Go ahead, go ahead.
Remember, when Rowley won the election in 2015, September, October. In October, he closed down the whole Ministry of Tobago Development.
Yeah, I
I
just
was
want to
in
say a
the
quick welcome to
director.
Nadira, Joyce, Keith, whoever is, let's see who else is here right now with us. Welcome. I think I see somebody like the Marilyn. Oh no, this is Joyce. I thought I saw Marilyn. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So,
Suman. Go ahead.
so you see, when the next day after the election, exactly what he said. They went to the URP offices in mostly Indian areas. Look at that. Look at the discrimination. Shogunas, Kuvas, Pinal, and say, hey, you no longer have a job. Get out of here. But they did the same thing in Tobago. They closed down a whole ministry, Gary.
Yeah, so they
Ministry
accusing
of
the
Tobago
government of
Development.
causing major hardship. But when they shut down Petrotrin was no major hardship. When they shut down Carony and they starved the workers, even for when the European Union gave that money allocated to Carony workers, how
Correct.
quickly did they get
Correct.
that money? There was spite. There was spite for people in the central and south area.
Correct. So that's why I'm saying we should focus in the plains where the people live. In our exercise and assignment, Ken, we should focus on the people who
Yeah.
live in the plains. These 5 or 6 constituencies that border the floodplains.
Well,
These are
Sumad,
the people who are affected.
when you look at
Yeah.
the topography, is the low-lying areas in the plains that are affected the most, right?
Correct.
But I want to draw a little reference here to Dr. Monilal that a lot of people take for granted, and he brought it up there in the parliament. $1 off super gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
This would affect everyone because people need transportation to go to work, to get their goods to the market, right?
Go to
And
school.
Suma, do you know that the CPI numbers here in the US, energy is a large part of that,
Yeah.
right?
In fact,
And yeah,
okay, go
so
ahead. I'm telling you.
and you will see that the market here is going to sell off because there will be a lot of hesitation as the price of fuel and energy continues to rise. As oil jumps over $100 a barrel, that
Mm-hmm.
is a big part of the CPI numbers moving forward, right?
Right.
So again, they will
Yes.
have to come back and revise, up, right? We'll see inflation jump, right? And obviously, some will argue that this will trigger a rate cut, right? But again, it's going to have a ripple effect. But coming back to Trinidad now, $1 off a liter of gasoline and $250 in cost savings for the average citizen who drives a motor vehicle. That's a
Per
lot of
month.
money
Per month.
per month.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
Ken.
money for some people, right?
Yes.
And the last government, they were laughing when they were raising the price. I believe one guy, I think he's about 5'5" or something like that, right? He
They
was
are
laughing
riot.
and saying that,
Yeah.
and he said that they didn't riot as yet,
Yeah.
right? I mean, how arrogant is that, right? How distasteful and cruel is that to say that I raised gasoline, like I'm holding a whip, and I raised gasoline 4 times, and the
And,
people didn't riot as yet,
and a
right?
smile on his face when he
And
said it.
smile in his face.
Yeah.
That is the type of leadership you don't want to have ever existing, leading anyone, right? Because that is cruel. There are people who are
Yeah.
suffering there, who need any kind of little bit of cost savings, right? Farmers who have to work hard, transport their crops, fuel their equipment, kids having to take their maxi taxi, then the price of taxi fares, increasing, the price to transport food, right?
Yeah, hold on a
I
second.
mean,
I want to see this video load. Let me see.
Look quite the current thing.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So
Companies like Coca-Cola, Blue Waters, those are the majority of plastic bottles here. Why these companies don't do a recycling project or something? The Sani. Look at these bottles. Look at them. Is there some way? Can someone tell me? Could we get these companies involved in a cleanup campaign? They are not the ones throwing the bottle, I understand this. But can they do an ad endorsing recycling and garbage collection? Look at this.
No,
By
Ken,
the
what
way,
what I'm looking for is that the Ministry of Local Government puts a proper garbage collection, sanitation, waste management program in place of recycling, of collection, effective collection, of designated, clearly identified dumping areas, and there might have to also be the incinerators, in certain areas. But you can't have limited garbage pickup, no proper designated dumping ground where the people go. You don't set up no recycle plant where or area that people can take the recycled material to. So the information, the education, I understand the guy calling about the company, but I think the major role is really for the Ministry of Local Government. That is the way I see it, handling the waste.
yeah, but Gary,
definitely. That's one.
I was chatting with Rajan yesterday, and he was interested in doing the recycling plant. But what he is saying,
Yeah, no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is I
no,
need Ministry of Local Government to really
to
step up there
come on board. Yes,
and
I
put
agree with
There
that.
has to be
put
a
the
structure for the
foundation for this.
government.
Everybody else has to
Correct.
come on board. But I mean, I know what this is what we need to see within this first 5 years of our government is that the proper sanitation waste management program is set in place where the cleanup is being done, the garbage pickup is being done, the people are being educated, and Rajan and guys could all fall into that too. But go ahead, Suman.
Because what you were saying, and quite rightly so, is that when the community sets up these collection areas for, let's say, newspaper or bottles or plastic containers, people are dumping their regular garbage in these boxes as well. And that's why education, it has to start with primary school education. And that is what is
Well,
going
it
to
has to
drag the
start. It has to
person.
be across the board because we ain't got time to wait for all of that. We don't got time for 25 years. So you have to have community. Even though you're doing it in the school, you have to do it in the community too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
who is going to tell somebody, hey, you could stop people doing this here?
No,
Where the laws,
you are able
where,
to enforce. You are sharing the information. You're
where,
educating. The
but,
enforcement will depend on the government. You
yeah,
could you could help patrol by identifying. That's like how somebody just take out their phone and say this person dumping here.
correct.
Identify it, but the enforcement has to come from government and
And has
Correct.
been
but
some
we
laws
we don't have the proper pickup. So you can't blame people for dumping things when you provide. It's like you charging people for parking in the wrong place and you provide no parking space.
well, you see, when you
Well,
have these,
Sumant, let me just say something. Here in the States, maybe we need to adopt a model similar to what we have in the States here. You get a
yeah,
special blue bin for
I
your
have
recyclable material,
three
and
bins,
then
three bins
we
for my
invest in
meat.
that
Yeah, but
garbage truck.
we need to get the ministry to listen. We already have Khadijah's here, as
Correct.
these guys knows her. But so the dialogue has to take place together with Marissa's and them team, the community response deployment team TT, and together with the minister, and the dialogue has started. The information and education,
And
with the flyers, the community, you try to encourage and educate,
yes,
and that is the thing we need to do. And we can't. I mean, you do it in the school, you do it in every option. You get. You do it in the church. You do it, any possible way that you can get a gathering. You have a meeting, and you encourage the education. But we have to move with it.
you see,
Definitely, certainly. And we
but
have to vet a good model that will work, that's efficient. And also there has to be a partnership, a buy-in with the government, right? Local government, where somebody supply the bins. In the States, we have a blue bin, right?
a green one, you
And you
have a
would put
green
your
one as
bottle.
well, a bottle.
Yeah, well, the green is for regular garbage, and the blue one is for recycle. And there's a
But we have,
recycle logo on it, right?
well, yeah, in my
And it tell
area
you
it's a
what you
little
can put on there.
different. I
Yeah,
said my area is a little different. The gray one is for regular garbage,
yeah, the
organized
gray.
and right? And then only the green one is for things that can be green stuff. All the bottles, plastic bottles, glass bottles, these things. Then there's the Friday bulk pickup, the bulk, tree cuttings and so on.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm saying, this is organization, and you better abide by it because you get a citation because there's laws so that you
So,
throw the regular
yeah,
garbage.
something just crossed my mind here, and we want to also talk about garbage and dumping and stuff. What about these tires, right? Didn't the government implement some kind of import tax on tires?
Mhm. Correct.
So the people who are bringing in these tires and stuff, and all the importers, they would have to pay a tax, and the government would collect that, right,
Mhm.
to help recycle and stuff like this.
But nothing
Where is
else.
there any? Where's this
No,
money?
the
Has anybody accounted for this money?
funds were
Because people still
collected.
dumping tires
Yeah,
and they lighting them up, setting them ablaze, and it's an environmental disaster to see these tires burning,
burning.
Well,
Correct.
just
right?
imagine you in your house and all the smoke blowing inside your house. That has happened down by me, and
Well,
people.
Gary, that's happened by me right now. Right now, every morning I get up, my yard is full of ash. You got to sweep or wash down the area. Yeah.
So maybe the government should have a program where anyone has a used tire or the tire shop, they get a rebate at they could sell that tire, that used tire, right, for a
Mm-hmm.
dollar or $5 maybe, right? And I'm sure you have people passing around picking up tires to go and get a rebate on a $5, sale on
But
it.
yeah, let's see what Rajan has those two projects in mind with the
Yeah.
wastewater, the plastics, and also the tires. But he say no one is listening in the ministry. Is trying to contact the ministers and so on, and is getting no feedback from them.
Sumad,
Well,
when a
the thing
tourist,
about it is we have to understand that the capacity that the ministers have taken over, where things, they have a lot more than they really should be dealing with because of the damages that the PNM do. So, but what the communication should be, listen, I'll get back to you, give me some time or something like that will help, because people don't feel that they're being ignored. But, we will keep on negotiating.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that they are dealing with a lot more
And
than.
tires are a big component of this flooding, because you see the amount of tires filled with silt and so on. I mean, in the
is
water
is
courses.
dispersed all over the place in the water course, you
Yeah.
name it. Anywhere
And
you go in Trinidad, you've seen a
tires.
tire, an old tire,
The
right?
day somebody sets up a factory, all in a sudden you see how quickly Trinidadians will get conscious about, hey, me a dumping my tire anymore, I'm just going to sell it.
I'm
Like
getting
long,
$10 for it.
yes, like your long old days they dump the battery and so on in the waterway, the drain or wherever they are. Nobody just dumps batteries anymore because battery buying all something and or scrap iron and old
Well, the
battery
Chinese buying
buying.
all of that. So the Chinese now is buying
Yeah,
all of that, and they
yeah.
see value there to export it.
So
It
there's
will be
no more
recycled.
dumping of these things. And if something similar can happen, pass around with these guys buying old tires and so on, definitely. And Rajan has a good idea. I spoke to it with him yesterday about it. And instead of depending or going through the ministry, go through the international organization, a community, green community projects, things like those things you get funding, grants for, and so on. So he said, yes, he's going to explore something like that rather than depending on the government, because the byproducts of those things are a lot, a lot of benches
Definitely,
and chairs
definitely.
and tiles and, for schools,
For
recreation.
example, now let me draw something here. Now, we trying to ship these things to India to be reprocessed. What we need to work on is to get the reprocessing in Trinidad and Tobago,
Correct.
where you take that
Absolutely.
tire or the plastic and you reprocess it
And you make a tile. You make a tile. And
Make
a
garbage
tile for the
bags.
floor.
Well,
Yeah.
even you turn the plastic bottle back into pellets and then you run it through the machine again and you could make other products with it.
Mhm.
Correct,
So
correct.
this is the thing what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to export opportunities to
No,
India. I am
no,
looking to
no.
create opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. That's right.
It will
Yes.
create
So,
employment also, permanent
yep.
jobs.
A lot of uses, and we have uses for these things.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And
rubberized flooring, for
yeah.
example, rubberized flooring for your garage, for your gym, for the schools, schools
The same
areas.
scrap iron thing. We should be able to melt that in Trinidad and reprocess that scrap iron.
But they shut down the damn iron plant. The
But
iron
I'm just
plant
saying, this is the
is
direction I want to see us going.
Yeah.
you just shut up shop and go left. And this guy is the biggest steel owner in the world. He owns all the steel mills in France, Metal, the Metal group of companies, you know. So we just short-sighted, and we got no help from some of the
No, it's
people at
short,
top.
not short-sighted only, it's spiked discrimination,
Yes, all
they're
that.
trying to suppress a certain group of people,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where we need to draw the line. And this is where we create equal opportunity, equal treatment for all Trinidadians. This nonsense about favoritism has to cut out.
Well, you see it happen right when Monila was speaking. Dr. Monila, that is the guy from Mr. Ramhit or Ramnath, or what is his name from Binal. His Stuart Young did not sign his contract. So you see it happening all the time, Gary, all the time. Spite.
But
No.
also, Samad, once we start to recycle and pick up all this plastic waste and stuff that's escaping into the environment,
Mm-hmm.
we are not just recycling, but think about the impact to the environment, right?
Yeah, microplastics is a big thing.
Microplastics is a big thing. And I like to use the classic case, very graphic. We are eating that plastic
The
in the
food
form
chain,
of
yes,
microplastics,
comes through the
right?
food chain.
Then
Yeah.
the burning of these tires. If we have cruise ships coming in, bringing tourists from all over the world, Europe and the US and stuff, and they see these plumes of black smoke, they're going to get scared. They take a plane, gets crashed there. Or a bomb went off or something,
Yep.
right? So we have to be very conscious of the environment and what we're doing and make that effort to protect the environment, right? To recycle, to dispose of our waste properly and safely so it doesn't impact. You know, I just showed you a classic example where it's right here, where it's creating a problem, a simple little plastic bag.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to cause a whole community to flood, right? So we have to be conscious of where I'm going to put this plastic bag. Is it going to be end up in that 2D trash track grating and cause the entire place to flood,
You
right?
see,
Or could I put this
there,
in safely somewhere or recycle it or maybe have it as a reuse or something, right?
see
But look at what's
the
happening
way
here.
the way our people have been acculturized. I use the word acculturized is that let me throw a bottle out the car, man. This is not my area.
Yeah.
This is
And
Sugar. I live in
yeah,
Donkey now, so this is going to affect me.
And
That
Sumad,
kind of
we have
concept.
and Gary, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we have Narita in the audience here also.
Was it?
The councilor,
Yeah,
Narita from Claxon.
Nadira, she's here.
Nadira,
She's here.
Nadira, I didn't forget you. We're going to be coming down to Claxon Bay down there. We're meeting with you. We'll call Mr. Ryan Rampasad
Oh,
from the
oh, this is
regional
a different.
corporation.
This is a different. This is a different Nadira. This is not.
Oh, you're definitely Nadira. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but either way, we have problems with plastic waste flooding all over the place. All over. This is the Carney River here. Somebody you could look, see that. Look at that picture.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What are you
yeah.
seeing there?
My God. Total, the other bank is that what 30% of the waterway is just plastics.
Plastic and styrofoam,
Yep.
old coconut shell, and mixing with a lot of debris, but mainly plastics. A
Mhm.
giant.
You might see a fridge and a stove and more there too.
Underneath usually.
And this thing is just floating to this Carney swamp, into the swamp there. Now, this picture was taken right by the Carney Bridge. Think about the
Oh,
tourists passing over
true.
that bridge, and all of a sudden they look across the river there, and they see this big giant garbage patch, like an island, just floating down there. What is the first impression? What did they think of us?
And this isn't that close to where they catch the boats to go down bird watching
No, this is on the Carney River.
on the
The bird
Caribbean.
watching is lower down, heading south on the Uriah Butler Highway, right by the swamp there.
Okay.
But it's not too far. I mean, it's the same delicate, sensitive,
Ecosystem there.
internationally recognized ecosystem.
Yeah. So there are lots of
Just like
things.
the Narita Swamp also, it's an internationally recognized sensitive ecosystem with the
Yeah,
West
that's
Indian manatees
that's
and
a-
stuff there.
Yeah, that's a Ramsar site.
I think the Ramsar, I think this Carney Swamp is also a Ramsar site.
Okay. But I know River Swamp and Boca Reef and Island Pool and so on.
Yeah.
Space
So we have to
site.
protect these sensitive, delicate environment, Sumad. And we can't have this type of plastic waste escaping. We have solutions to address this, right? And intercept it at the outfall end
But Ken,
of
I mean, if you're calling the shots as they are, I'm sure all these ministers from South who traverse the highways see these things, don't they? You think they don't
Correct.
see it?
But Sumad, look.
I don't think it is a safe thing for how these ladies going down there. I think this
And
thing
that-
should be this
that if
thing.
you
This thing should be pulled out onto the bank and we deal with it there.
Yes.
with a grapple or
With a-
something, you get a grapple and then grab it,
Yep.
and pick it up and put it in the
Yeah.
dump truck.
She's taking
Yeah, no,
a chance.
you could how to say, you could go through it on the bank, but I don't think
And
they
that's
should
it.
go down for where they are. We should
You
get a excavator or something, pick it up from in there, put it on the bank, sort out what we had to sort out, but sending them down there, that's dangerous.
Very
It's
dangerous.
very dangerous.
If you fall in
That-
that water there, you can't find the air. How you going
can't
to?
fi-
how
they
your
can't
head
find
going
you.
to-
There's
Oh, you
water
know.
flowing under that garbage pile there,
Yeah.
and that
Okay.
current will take.
Yeah,
you
but
won't
what
have
I'm
the
saying,
strength
if
to
you
come up.
slip down, and one of them pieces of wood gone into your body, you understand how it is there. So this, I would not encourage anybody to do what they're doing there. We should get them some help to pull that stuff out of the river there, and then we deal with it.
That's correct. No one should be attempting to pick up garbage inside a river that's cresting, right? That is very, very dangerous. So, but we learn from all these things, eh? All these different footage of garbage, plastic waste, and people trying their best. And look, they all meant well, and
Yeah.
they're trying to save their community there also, because they want to remove that constriction. And we have to be conscious of what we're doing. We cannot plunder the environment like this. It's going to get worse
So
with climate change.
simple thing as looking at this here, right? You're seeing room for excavation in the river area here, right? After you clear this, you could do some dredging, you could build up the embankment, you could even go as far as making a road alongside the river,
That is
Gary,
always a good
this
plan.
photo, I've been working on something to deal with this heavy big debris, and
This is a different one.
I might have to revisit it. Yeah, this is just plastic and styrofoam waste, right?
Yeah.
Which is typical throughout Trinidad and Tobago. It's
Yeah.
typical. Again, if we're going to beautify the place so much and bring tourists here, right, and they're driving around the place and they're interacting with the communities and stuff, and all of a sudden they pass and they see this amount of plastic waste, right?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't look good. It
And
doesn't look good, you know.
so much for all your advertising and marketing.
But then again, this happened because under the PNM, they failed to provide adequate garbage pickup, waste management. They failed to provide designated areas. I mean, there's not just one place down in the labas down there. That was just not just one place, but they needed to set up these proper recycling area and garbage disposal area. They failed to do that.
And
So
Gary, you
that
know
is
what?
what this is what create that culture of where
And,
this for people had no choice. They started doing the wrong thing, you know. But
and
no,
Gary,
our government has to provide these things.
right. And Gary also, just to add to that, they failed to put the water from South Key into the ocean right there, right? And you know who suffered there? The taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. And the poor people who have to go and catch that bus and those who have to wade and put plastic bags in their feet and walk around Port of
That's
Spain in that
yeah.
health hazard.
But you see,
That
this is the
water,
thing. This is what happens when you appoint people to position based on race and party and political connection and not qualification and intelligence, right? So this is why this happened. This is why Petrotrin collapsed because they could not keep the business afloat because they didn't have the business intellectual. They put idiots based on race and party, all right, and friendly connection, and not people who are qualified within the best people there. That is why we end up where we are now. You know. So go ahead, gentlemen.
So
so
how anyway, Ken, let
so
me tell
yeah,
you how we
in
get
Port of
around this
Spain,
problem.
yeah, go ahead, Suman, go ahead.
That's why I have always made the comment that Trinidad and Tobago can never, never, never move forward. We always go sideways. And the reason for that, there is no legislation to say that, hey, a cleanup project like this, let's make this a cleanup project, and anybody found guilty, do like what they do in Singapore and punish their tail. You will see, you have to start to get legislation for things because people are so ingrained that they do the same damn shit over and over and over again. Nobody tells them nothing. Somebody, I may be conscious and say, hey, well, put it in the bag, the boy, and somebody will pass and pick it. Who are you to tell me that? You think you are Mr. Clean? Or this attitude and mentality, 2 steps forward, 3 steps backward, 2 steps
And
sideways. You
yeah,
can't go
and
forward.
yeah, and you know, Sumad, that is why we need to build stronger, more resilient communities that are
Communities, and
well
that is where it
trained
has to
They
start.
to
even
So,
implement.
they even destroy the community center and let it run down the drain. Just
well,
imagine that.
you know, Gary, that most of these community centers are run by teams. They have a team of people who run these community centers. And if you need to use a community center, let's say I want to have a meter, I have to get approval from that team. And most of these teams are, run by so-called,
And if you run in a program that is a threat to their position, you're in more trouble.
but most of these community centers are run by PNM groups. Let me tell you, putting it bluntly,
Well,
up to
but
now.
just look at the bacchanal that took place in the Siparia Corporation, right? Right?
I can tell you that.
I am waiting to get the full story of that, but I am sure to the fact that I think somebody have a little idea of maybe something of some of the things, right? But
Let's say
this doesn't have nothing to do with PNM trying to obstruct UNC in getting the job done.
exactly what it is. Even one of the guys there who the Prime Minister appointed, Mr. Victor Roberts, as a UNC, we all know where he stands and who he supports. Kamala, this guy a position. Prime Minister give this guy a position as a UNC councillor in the Sipari Regional Corporation.
So he's one of the guys that causing the trouble then?
Of course, he's supporting the PNM. The
Right, right. But
PNM guy.
yeah, he didn't get what he wants. So he bitter against Kamala. So, but
All right.
the thing about it is, the truth has to come out in what the deputy mayor was trying to get done and why the argument took place and by
Right.
what and how it is that they
And,
could throw the deputy mayor out of the meeting when
and Mr. Tilak Singh, who is the deputy mayor, he's gotten his support of the mayor, so it has reached the mayor level now.
right.
Of today, yes.
Yeah.
So they have to work their things out. I don't know how they're going to work their stuff out, but the mayor has gotten involved in it, and let's see how it proceeds from that point. Because you know how these groups function, right? Like certain members of the team, you're in charge of certain aspects of the operation. The mayor is not.
We know exactly that they're going to try to ambush us in any which way they want
Yeah,
because they
correct.
want their
Correct.
cake, and if they don't get what they want, they go do everything to derail us. So we know
Absolutely.
that happening inside out, right? So
Absolutely. That is what is happening right now. So that has to sort itself out.
Suman, see if you can get a hold of that deputy mayor for me.
His name is Tilak Singh.
No, see if you can get his contact. See if you can get a hold of him.
For his contact, I will have to find that out.
Yeah. See if you can get a hold of him here. We want
Okay.
to
He's
get his
not-
side of the story. We want him to tell us what's going
Yeah,
on.
he's not in my area. He's down in Granville Cedar.
Yeah, what I'm saying, see who you could reach out and get a hold of him.
Okay. I will.
We're going to give our people a voice. This channel is here to give our people a voice. We're not going to let them get suppressed and brutalized while the PNM have their way while we in government too. No way, sir.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
to all UNC councillors, all UNC representatives, this channel is free for you. Okay? Please note that. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Yeah, can you have something to say before I interrupted you? Yes, sir.
I lost my thought there for a minute, but look, I wanted to also talk about tourism because I know you're big in tourism, right? We could be promoting the country, and you travel all over the world promoting Trinidad and Tobago mainly, right?
Yeah. But
And
Trinidad
how
and Tobago. Yeah.
Trinidad and Tobago, right?
Yeah.
But everything is related, right? Even the crime, the garbage, the flooding, right? Yeah, okay. I just recall here. For the Spain, that flooding is a health hazard, right? The influent that's backflowing through those manholes, right, is mixing with that runoff. And people have to now wade through those waters and go and get their bus and their taxi and go and buy their fried chicken and all this other stuff, right? And the last government tried to fix that, and they only made it worse. And the reason why I want to continue to beat that point and continue to reiterate it is because we do not want to be wasting money in these designs that are only going to exacerbate or worsen the problem, right? So it has to be well
Ken,
thought of.
we spent the last couple of years with the Beatam raw sewage coming up into the people's house and kitchen in the Beatam.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know how many complaints I got? I was getting called. But I have a fella, he gone quiet all of a sudden, who was balling down the place about the sewage. But anyway, go ahead.
But
He
he's
gave
their
me that TV
representative.
or something.
He's supposed to come and say, hey, let's fix this here.
No,
Try to get solutions.
1 minute he UNC, 1 minute is this, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I guess he relative become the MP there, so he gone quiet.
He got a TV in the house. They give him a TV, they can shut him up.
But again, I spoke about these 2D trash racks, and that is a classic case. And then I got the still photograph.
But you know
with
who
the
I can
plastic
get?
waste.
Our candidate who did not win, I will try and get him to come and tell us about that.
What area?
Lavante West there, Rodney Snow. I had to get Rodney back here.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk about the sewage and stuff. Because it is a problem. The influent is a problem when it spills out into the street there and mixes with the runoff, right? But we have a lot of work to do, and Sumar is right. The high risk problems or areas that lies along the Caroni River, and these major floodplains, the 100-year floodplains, is all built up, and the people are at risk there. And you saw it with the modeling of the 100-year storm, right? And we posted that. And the people have to realize that they are at risk. These communities are at risk. We need to come together and build the community effort, empower the communities, train them, be well organized, have a group that could respond at moment's notice. If somebody slips and falls into a river or something, we could deploy a boat right there in the community and try to rescue them, or launch a search. This is how we build communities. And then also when it comes to mitigation, right? We have designs that are proven, tested, and we are going to fortify the community to prevent the riverine and the localized flooding. And that will be my first step and my first approach. And then we work at the bigger infrastructure to look at the whole catchment from a holistic perspective.
Let's hope we can achieve that for the next 4 years, Kenneth. That will be definitely a
what I'm talking about, Sumad, is the low-lying fruits, the quick, high-impact solutions,
Yeah.
right? And the others, those will take obviously a lot of resources and time. But it is doable. But let us focus on the high-impact solutions.
Yes,
To safeguard and fortify the communities. I think that is essential.
Yes.
And that is a must. And that should be a high priority.
Definitely, and I concur with that assessment, and I will, like to work along with you in that regard. I mean, no sense just trying to get people involved, and some of them really don't care. I see that all the time. They come out hot, and then they just fade away. So if you're doing something, I think we can do this as a personal project, meaning that as our contribution to TNT will be, hey, look, you know what, man, I was involved with this flood mitigation project and we solved this damn problem once and for all. There are lots of low-hanging fruits, Ken. I think the councillors and the various councillors and the various MPs need to be on board so that they can understand. You see, the thing is, I don't think they really understand the problem.
And you're absolutely right.
They have social problems that they don't call psychological problems these people go through. No, look at, I was asking myself the question today, how many of these ministers live in a flood-prone area that have ever experienced a flood? None of them. They don't know. When you have to cook meals for 300 people for 4 or 5 days, then you realize this is what we had to do here, home by us. People in Woodland were stranded and they can't under 2 feet of water. They need to come out of their house for 3 days. And we had to send food for them with boats and so on. So you understand when you live.
Whenever rain falls in that South Oropouche basin there, Woodland is always in the news.
Yeah,
the residents are always getting the brunt of it down there. Right? And you have that high tide, you have that obsolete sluice gate that can't close. I remember looking at a newspaper article, and the article was referencing about 4 of the sluice gates were left just open and they couldn't close. Right? So there is a problem with flow there, right? You have the backflow, and those sluice gates are there to intercept that. Because if the water is allowed to back through the high tide, will occupy your storage capacity, will impact your storage capacity.
Correct.
Right? So we need infrastructure to address these things that are effective, that are efficient, that are working, that are green, right? And that is what we bring to the table here. That will be part of the proposal.
And this is why I don't think we have too much time to do that. But
at least within this period of time that we have here, and let's hope that we get to the next 5 years and more, right? But let's try to solve that problem for these people down in Woodland also, who have been suffering, and and they keep crying out for help. And let's go down there and we look at that, and we'll propose something, because again, there are some low-lying fruits that we could address right away in the form of short-term, high-impact solutions. I can guarantee that.
And people in the ground, the small people, there's no sense going to the MPs and so on, because I'm telling you, they're on a different level. We have to start with the councils,
Well, they
the
don't
people in the
understand the
community.
problem, right? They don't understand the problem. And I mean, look, there's a lot of technical people also who don't understand. They understand the problem, but they don't understand how to find a solution,
The
a
solution,
viable solution,
correct.
right?
A
When
cost-effective,
I
high-impact
look, Sumad,
solution.
we had a presentation in Port of Spain many years ago, and I was invited to present also. And I spoke about bamboo and the problem there and so forth. And we had someone from the Netherlands, and the guy had his technical person there who did a presentation. Really nice presentation about Port of Spain, and he highlighted the problems that we all knew about. But I didn't see a solution, right? And when I went to talk to him, he was more interested in my solution and wanted to see what I did in bamboo number 3,
Yeah.
right? And then we
But
started to
that's
talk, and
good.
the Dutch ambassador was there from the Netherlands, and we started to talk and stuff. And I said, hey, I work for Akidas, which is a company that's based in the
And
Netherlands.
so they should
Right?
keep quiet.
Yeah, you will see that orange salamander.
Yeah.
That's the logo, right?
Yeah.
And then he said, oh, that's why you develop all this great, fabulous stuff, blah, 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 blah. And he invited me to his house. They had a little function there, and we spoke and stuff.
You
But yeah,
see,
look,
you
at the end
see
of the
what?
day, we need solutions that are going to work, that have been
That's the
proven,
point.
tested, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to do trial and error like the lighthouse, spending tens of millions of dollars, and the water elevation in South Key is higher than the one in the ocean, right? We're not going to be doing that kind of engineering.
So Gary, I think somewhere you have to use our influence to make sure we make contact with these heads and these people, boy, because
No, listen. Let's hold that there. We got something going, so don't worry.
ministers, the advisors, all of them have to be there.
Don't worry about the advice. We got something going. Don't worry about it.
Right, because
But-
I'm not going to participate. Once I get the feedback that they're not interested, I'm going to just throw everything aside because this is my last ditch effort. I'm trying to do to help, and
Don't worry,
if they
so it's
can-
going to work out.
if they can, I'm very hopeful that it can work out. But
Flooding is a national problem.
it is a national
Flooding
problem.
is a national problem. Global
And
warming,
there are
climate
there are
change is a global
solutions.
problem.
Yes,
It affects
solutions.
everything in the globe.
I have multiple things that I have to involve you in, so don't panic.
No, Gary, I don't panic. But I get a strong sense when something can work and when it can't work. A lot of people just talk like MPs. They talk a lot. They don't offer solutions. We are the only people who offer solutions. From the day UNC
Well,
won, and before that, we were able to identify what the
Solutions,
problems are.
yeah, solutions that are proven, tested. In 2018,
And
when
high
the entire-
impact.
Yeah,
high
exactly.
impact as well.
and classic case 2018, when the whole place was flooding there, right? It was
Mhm.
business as usual in bamboo. There was little to no impact in bamboo number 3.
And I
Right?
was
And every
home
other
here.
place along that
Yeah.
river alignment was
Yeah.
affected. Right?
Yeah.
There were boats going into Madras and places where 10 feet of water.
Yep. Correct.
So again,
We
we,
had-
are looking to bring viable solutions
Yep.
that
So-
is going to fix the problem. And
So that-
we're going to hit the road running so much. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
We're going to hit the road running.
All right. I'll be willing to be part. I give you my commitment to be part of the process right through. But
Yeah,
Gary,
yeah.
we need your support on the other end to make sure we can meet the right people. So whenever we're doing a presentation or so, that either they or the advisors or the parliamentary secretaries or somebody turns out so they can see what the problem is first and what the solutions are and how cost effective those solutions can be. That is so you don't feel you're wasting time. That's the whole point. That you don't want to, spin top and mud, so to speak. Want to see, hey, look, we open the solutions. Let me hear what you have to say.
Just remember, I'm like a woodpecker.
I saw one today going up my coconut tree and trying to pick on my coconuts. I had to pelt him down, man. Yeah. But in all seriousness, Gary, we have to get the buy-in from these higher ups because, by ourselves, we can't do it. We can only do so much. So
Well,
that's
so but I think they will definitely be interested in solving problems that have been
and
affecting the communities,
well,
and they're not seeing any viable solutions, right?
and if it's one thing UNC can boast about when their 5-year, 10 year is up, they could say they solved the flooding problem for the people. If that is one
Well,
achievement, if that's one
in
achievement,
5 years, if we get enough money, we could do a drastic amount of work. But we don't know how much funding we will get yet. But we
that's
could
right.
take care of the
Smaller things, small
yeah.
things.
So there's some things that can deal with directly, but the kind
Yeah.
of things I'm looking to get done,
No, that
for
is heavy.
instance, is
That is heavy.
I need something like this in a smaller scale because we are a
Yeah.
smaller country, and
Yep.
Ken could work with that. So we need to
Yeah.
control the flow of the water, and we also we could use this for power and electricity. We can use water backup storage, and but we have to create those extra. These things are going to be large projects. But
Those
Strategic
are
storage.
we could work on
Yeah.
the smaller
yes.
retention. But the
Yeah.
Caroni River, for example, the Caroni River needs something like this, to control that
Upstream.
flow, and then we need to widen and deepen so we don't have. It's like these areas here. There's a lot of area here we could find where we dredge, we expand the retention, we create an overflow, so that we control that flow, so you don't come all the way down into Bamboo and knock everybody out in Caroni there, because that, so we have to control. Then we need these things, right?
Now you got to
Pump
talk.
station.
Okay,
Pump
so we need
station.
these things also to be. So there's a lot of money to be spent, but they'll be worthwhile spending. And so I mean, these are the things I have in mind, and Ken will help us with that. So because he had the experience in the US dealing with these kind of things. So
Yep, certainly.
so I mean, it's not this is what I'm thinking about, right, gentlemen? So we're not talking
Yes,
some small scale thing here. So
correct.
there's all right. So that's
And
everything depends.
We are
and we
we
have to make that
yeah.
investment. We have to. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it because global warming is not slowing down. It is only going to get worse over time. We've seen these hurricanes. Melissa was upgraded as one of the, Suma, correct me if I'm wrong, is tied as one of the most powerful hurricanes in the Atlantic ever in the Atlantic history of recording hurricanes.
190.
So
119 miles per hour.
so just imagine, I can for instance, all that water coming down through Woodland, instead of we could send that water towards Maya Road the other way. You understand? Some of it, understand what I'm thinking? From the Guanaca River and the other places of.
Yeah.
Well,
So you see, we don't want to overwhelm the other tributaries and rivers,
correct.
but we have to
So,
study that, right? But here's the thing: if we could control the high tide from occupying or impacting our storage capacity, then we could start to work with that now and see how much we need to draw down, right?
mhm.
Again, we are detaining the 25-year storm and we're trying to convey the 100. So yeah, so we'll have to go down there and look at that and look at it
So
properly.
that Oropouche River, right? That
Talk to me.
Oropouche River.
I can tell you about it. I know it very good.
Right. So,
ask the question.
as far as I see, that Oropouche River, where we get some equipment like this, right? I mean, that really like a small ravine, tell you the truth, compared to what.
Gary,
It might be a big river for the people in
it's a
Trinidad, but
big-
what I'm saying is,
yeah, right. It's not a Guyanese river. It's a small ravine. It's quite
all
dry.
right. But what I'm saying to you, it's
but-
very controlable thing. You get that drone
But-
fly over there, and we identify the areas how we can work there, and we put it on the map. All we need is the funding to get the job done.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
Gary, the river looks wide and deadly, but in the low tide, you go walk across the river.
Well, yeah, because there's too much obstruction. There is too much obstruction. There is not proper equipment to pump the water out. The water can even flow in the other direction instead of coming down. Some of it will go towards Mayaro instead of everything coming down towards the westbound. You understand? So we could yeah.
Some of these rivers had never been drilled like 30, 40 years to tell you
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, so
Gary,
you go up there's a lot of debris and obstruction there.
Yeah. Gary, I
There's
will
plenty of
post,
room. Yeah.
Gary, sorry, I will post a picture. In fact, I found it yesterday with the height. I was studying the high tide in Port of Spain, right? And I will show you where the tide fluctuates about 3 feet. 3 feet, right, from the low and the high tide. The difference in water elevation is about 3 feet. And I have proof of it, and I'll show you the pictures. And tomorrow I will send it to you later on. I will post that, and we'll have a discussion about it. Now think about 3 feet of water in your river that's removed. That's 3 feet of storage for runoff, right?
Ken, man, the kind of embankment we could build there and control that flow of water. All we need is the funding. We know how to get it done.
Yes, definitely. The funding. Once we get the funding, we can get it done. And again, we're detaining the 25 and we convey the 100.
Yes.
And we're addressing the garbage also. We're addressing the garbage, and we're trying to intercept this garbage at the outfall drains for all these tributaries, because we cannot afford to have the swamp being impacted with all this plastic waste, tons and tons of plastic waste, because at some point we are eating that plastic in the form of microplastics.
Back in the ecosystem.
And it's a health hazard, and it's a problem. We are drinking the water that contains microplastics. We're eating the food where these microplastics are coming into the food chain in the form of fish and oysters and stuff, right? And we're actually eating the fish. It's getting into our bodies. We're hurting ourselves by polluting. It's that simple. But we need to address it.
And the oil contamination that the PNM allowed to take place during their reign of government in the Gulf there has caused some serious eco damage and health hazard.
Yeah, so I mean, I think.
Well, maybe it's one reason why they had the Coast Guard packed up there, because the Coast Guard would have seen the oil spill, right? Because the oil spill was being discovered by the local fishermen, not the Coast Guard.
Well, the Coast Guard the Coast Guard had to close their eye, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But anyway, what we need now is to make sure them vessels are working. We need that Coast Guard skills upgraded. We need the United States help in upgrading the quality of performance. I think I would suggest a joint patrol between the U.S. and Trinidad in our waters there. So I mean, we're not telling anybody else what to do in their other country, but we are patrolling Trinidad and Tobago waters, and so I definitely need a Coast Guard base training facility to upgrade our Coast Guard, a joint agreement,
a joint task force.
Between Trinidad, we're not interfering in nobody's business. We secure in Trinidad and Tobago, and so Coast Guard, because our Coast Guard is not capable of responding effectively. They're not properly trained, especially that situation happened with the divers. I cannot forget that. We need the kind of equipment in place as we go forward to respond. We need to do underwater rescue. We need a mini sub that can hold at least a minimum for 6 people at least. And you can get some equipment. You could go on. The mini sub should be able to go down when them guys dive in there and scrutinize the environment. While the job is going on, you're patrolling and looking and observing for any kind of risk factor that's taking place so that you can move quickly, and we need to be able to respond. So our Coast Guard is not capable of that. They're only capable of posing with guns. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Gary. That's it.
I think we picked it up there.
Yeah,
Gary, and tomorrow.
Tomorrow I get paid. Tomorrow I get paid.
Yeah, tomorrow I might be out and about. I might come home late tomorrow. I have a little function to go attend to.
All right, then. Tomorrow we're talking economics, so.
Oh, so all right, no problem. So I could, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, let's keep the conversation going. I think we covered a lot here today.
Right.
And again, global warming is not slowing down anytime soon. The problems that we're dealing with are only going to
magnify
more. They will magnify over time, and the impact is going to be worse. right? And we have to safeguard our citizens, our people, especially those in the low-lying areas or along the Caroni River and other
The
rivers in the low-lying areas. We have
most
to fortify these
vulnerable.
vulnerable, the ones in the high-risk zones.
Yes.
And this is how I see it. I will continue to have these conversations. Sumad,
Yeah. I know.
All right, gentlemen, we'll say good night then. Somebody want to wrap up?
have a good night.
No, I just like to endorse what Ken is saying, and my goal is really for the benefit of the people and the masses of the people, and whatever I can do to help, I will willing to help. As Ken is saying, these community resilience, the most vulnerable in the society, these are the people need help, and sometimes we are so fortunate that we really don't know what these people go through unless you want to see and experience or they tell you, but experiencing these things are something else. Somebody sees snakes walking through their living room when flood water comes up. We can't imagine these things because we might be sipping coffee watching television, but they are in this this thing, boy. It's a frightening experience, and whatever we can do to help, and I'm really willing to be part of it. So I have my commitment there.
So
Well
Ken,
said, well said.
Ken, you available Sunday for anything?
Sunday night, yes, Sunday night, definitely.
We'll do something Sunday night. All right.
Sure.
Not tomorrow.
Yeah,
Again?
we'll do something wait tomorrow, but I'll do something Ken Sunday night.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys, have a good night.
Take care. Have a good one.
Take care. Thanks. Bye.
All right, good night, everybody.
Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, our vibrant twin island nation, now emerging as a global logistical hub. We're unlocking new pathways, connecting us to the world, signaling that we are open for business. Today, we proudly unveil the revitalization blueprint designed to usher in a new era of opportunity. Join us now as we walk you through the key projects shaping this exciting new chapter. We begin our journey in the South capital, San Fernando, where transformation takes root and vision becomes reality. Node 1 ignites the revitalization blueprint with 39 catalytic projects, each one a bold step toward a thriving, reimagined Trinidad and Tobago. The key subnodes include Plaza San Carlos, the vibrant waterfront living district blending commercial and residential life, and the pioneering health city. Plaza San Carlos, a journey through time and taste. Step into the heart of heritage at Plaza San Carlos, a beautifully preserved historic market square that pulses with life. Now as the centerpiece of the repurposed historic district, Plaza San Carlos welcomes the arrival of the last train to San Fernando, a nostalgic tram that glides along the waterfront, offering visitors a scenic and symbolic ride through the soul of the city. This vibrant pedestrian haven is lined with charming colonnades and brims with local flavor, from cozy restaurants and artisanal food stalls to eclectic craft vendors and stylish boutiques. Plaza San Carlos, the soul of the South.
I met with sweet Dorothy. She said, tomorrow I'm joining in matrimony. And if you act...
Nestled along the serene shoreline, the Waterfront Hotel offers a luxurious escape with breathtaking views, elegant accommodations, and world-class service. Whether you're here for business or leisure, it's the perfect blend of comfort and coastal charm. We honor our island's role as sanctuary to the majestic leatherback turtle. This cutting-edge convention center stands as a living tribute to global connections. The center welcomes international summits, corporate dialogues, and vibrant cultural exchanges, all under one roof. Wake up to the aroma of breakfast favorites and vibrant local produce. The Al Fresco Market is the place to be. From live performances under the stars to weekend yoga and family fun, this dynamic space is the heartbeat of entertainment and activity. Whether you're catching a concert or kicking back with friends, there's always something happening here. The redevelopment of San Fernando's waterfront marks a historic turning point for the city and the wider southern corridor. Transforming a neglected coastal town into southern Trinidad's civic heart, the project promises to catalyze growth in tourism, healthcare, and the cultural economy. This is a cultural and economic renaissance, one that finally grants San Fernando the grand maritime frontage it has long deserved.
For on my mind I had nothing else but romance. I said to myself, boy, you better beat this iron.
Health City, spanning over 14 hectares, will serve as the cornerstone of a visionary precinct dedicated to health and wellness. Encompassing state-of-the-art hospitals, clinics, and medical research centers, it will foster high-skilled employment and attract patients from across the region. This strategic shift from a tourism-centric economy marks a vital step toward building a more resilient and diversified urban future. From San Fernando to Mayaro, the highway extension is forging a vital link to the southeast energy hub at Galeota. From there, we advance westward to Node 3 in Cedros, where upgrades to our Coast Guard facilities and the introduction of customs and immigration services will strengthen our southern gateway. Continuing northwest to Node 4, at Tetron, our Coast Guard headquarters, we complete the arc, from shoreline to open sea, fortifying Trinidad and Tobago's coastal border security. Revitalization Node 5, Port of Spain ascends. North Trinidad's capital city is stepping boldly into the future. As part of the revitalization blueprint, 38 projects will unfold across Port of Spain. Our north capital will showcase architectural excellence, a state-of-the-art multimodal hub, new port city and industrial estate, specialized health city, a waterfront worthy of a nation's pride. Every project is designed to honor our island's natural beauty while unlocking its potential. Port of Spain's waterfront will become a symbol of progress, pride, and possibility. The revitalized foreshore will unveil a new standard of coastal living, featuring premium waterfront residencies, sophisticated apartments offering panoramic sea views and seamless access to the city's vibrant edge. A dynamic retail promenade, a curated mix of boutiques, cafes, and culinary gems, thoughtfully arranged along a breezy boardwalk. A cultural and creative pulse, more than a destination, it's a living canvas of coastal charm, local flair, and everyday indulgence. Anchoring the waterfront skyline, this visionary development seamlessly integrates a global financial center with a state-of-the-art international convention center, creating a dynamic nexus for commerce and collaboration. Rising alongside our iconic hotel towers offering world-class hospitality, complemented by 2,000 luxurious waterfront residences that redefine urban living. With over 200 marina berths, the Invaders Bay Marina invites a vibrant maritime culture, positioning the destination as a premier hub for business and leisure. The Infinity 8 Towers. Embodying endless possibility, graceful balance, and the promise of renewal. Their name evokes the elegant arc traced by a hummingbird's wings, an eternal dance of motion and meaning, inspired by one of Trinidad and Tobago's most beloved creatures. Moving along the waterfront, we introduce you to our state-of-the-art convention center. Gracefully anchored on the breathtaking waterfront, our architecturally iconic, state-of-the-art convention center redefines Caribbean excellence, where visionary design converges with extraordinary experiences. A vibrant 4 to 5 stories. Green spaces and recreational parks and pedestrian-friendly streetscapes. A 30,000 square foot cruise terminal hosting 3 post-Panamax cruise ships. Designed to welcome over 1 million visitors annually. It redefines Trinidad and Tobago's gateway to the world. A new new gateway for efficient, comfortable, and accessible transport. Connecting communities and harmonizing land, sea, and rail for fluid movement. Swift, radiant, and impossibly light, the Hummingbird dances through the landscape, inviting passengers to greet each day with eyes wide to possibility. It is a symbol of hope in motion, a thread of joy woven into the nation's rhythm. The re-engineered port facility integrates dry docking and advanced warehousing infrastructure with light manufacturing zones, a cutting-edge training and simulation center, regulatory offices, and a dedicated union headquarters. Designed for efficient operations and seamless logistics, the port city positions Port of Spain as the Southern Caribbean's premier transshipment hub, where global trade meets local innovation. See Lots Industrial Park and Free Trade Zone. Modernized port governance hub with enhanced operational efficiency. An international health city in Port of Spain will feature state-of-the-art towers dedicated to diabetes, oncology, cardiac, and clinical services. These will also host a world-class training center positioning Trinidad and Tobago as a regional leader in medical education and care. By fostering the exchange of knowledge and expertise among healthcare professionals and enabling collaboration with renowned international medical institutions, this initiative promises to be a transformative asset for our nation's health sector and global standing. As part of our blueprint, we're enhancing the Queen's Park Savannah with respectful, legacy-honoring upgrades that unlock its full potential. The capital is entering a bold new chapter, re-envisioning its waterfront and urban gateways into a vibrant, connected coastal district. A formidable 40-acre national security campus will dominate Mount Hope, unified, strategic, and built for purpose. It will centralize vital operations, eliminate fragmentation, and elevate Trinidad and Tobago's readiness to respond, protect, and prevail. Advancing our focus on national security. We commence Node 7. Tamana, Center for Justice. Moving to the Eastern Plains, the Tamana Prison Campus resides, the largest single infrastructure project in national security history. We have consolidated the existing correctional facilities and proposed redevelopment of the land for mixed-use purposes. This facility will be home to courthouses, prison, and on-site residences with rehabilitation programs for the successful inmate reintegration. Tamana, a center for justice. Next, we shift our focus onto the Remand Yard, Port of Spain, a cornerstone of our revitalization narrative. Once a symbol of confinement, the Boys Jail now stands as a beacon of possibility. Emerging from this will be an arts and cultural center as a dynamic exhibition and events hall. It offers facilities for workshops, conferences, and cultural exchange. This bold transformation honors the past while empowering the future, where creativity, collaboration, and community take center stage. With the forthcoming integration of Carrera Prison into the Tamana program, a strategically positioned islet has emerged as available for redevelopment. This unlocks an exceptional opportunity to create a world-class vacation enclave envisioned with private bungalows, a serene marina, and an elegant boutique hotel designed to captivate discerning travelers. From isolation to inspiration. With the successful consolidation of the Tamana Justice Campus, a remarkable opportunity now unfolds, 280 acres of prime land poised for transformation. This isn't merely excess space, it's a blank canvas for national advancement. We envision a vibrant fusion of residential and commercial development that will serve our people and ignite regional prosperity. From welcoming homes to bustling enterprises and inclusive community spaces, every square foot will be shaped with intention. Node 10 highlights Caroni. A modern racetrack, multi-use recreational and cultural venue awaits. We are proud to unveil Node 11, the central government campus. The aim is to decentralize ancillary government services by relocating them from our bustling capital city to Chaguanas. The CGC will not only host several key ministries like sports and culture, it will also feature a multifunctional event amphitheater. Additionally, the campus will incorporate the Energy Tower. This development will serve as our new central capital city. A nation shaping its future with purpose, one development at a time. Trinidad and Tobago, a global hub, connecting us to the rest of the world.
Okay, good night, everybody. See you tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us.